Hello!
Are you hallucinating?
What is up, everybody? So they added Tiamat, they buffed King Hassan, and they buffed Da Vinci, which I actually haven't looked at their buffs yet. People keep asking me about them, and it's like, motherfucker, that shit came out at like 6 a.m. for me, so I'll look at it later. Little loud there. Turn that down. Alright. Anyways. Yeah, new microphone. It doesn't pick up the reverb nearly as much, so it sounds a lot better. Bring back the echo, I know, right? Anyways, so Tiamat has a Bubba Dub, thank you for the 15 months. Appreciate it. Tiamat has a 2 turns cooldown skill, which is kind of interesting because if you use Anniversary or Atlas, excuse me, you can cast it twice in 1 turn. Actually, I think you can cast it 3 times in 1 turn. I think if you've got like double Maid Artoria Alter, whatever her name is, and or Edison, and then yeah, you do Atlas. Pretty sure you can cast it 3 times in 1 turn. We need to do that at some point. Anyway, we might as well cast it right the hell now because we'll just have it back in no time. But yeah, it's a heal, NP damage up, a little bit of battery. Yeah, there's a few ways to get cooldown reduction, but you could only have 2 of them on the team. You could do the switch mystic code, but then you'd lose Atlas, so. Oh, chat not on screen. Hold on. Nope, that's chat versus FGO. Turn that the hell off. Haven't used that in a while. Okay, I think we just... kind of sucks we got no art cards here. Anyway, she is AoE Buster, so yeah, no single targets allowed, although I don't think anyone was expecting her to be single target, to be honest. And Gong is almost dead. So I might need to move where my microphone is. Let me know if it's too quiet. I think I might be having a hard time picking up my voice. So if I kind of like cut out or I'm cutting in and out or something like that, let me know. Because I can move it closer if I need to. It's a bit quiet. Yeah, hold on, let me try this. If I move it over here, I'm not going to have my pop filter. Whoops. That's cool that I can actually show the music on stream there, though. Alright, let me know what this sounds like. Might actually be too loud now. Better. Way better? Alright. We don't get the pop filter this way, though. I'll have to find... I think I can set it up eventually where we can have both. I'll have to just fiddle with my desk. Because pop filters are nice when you're a lot. New mic makes you sound 5 years younger. I think you just called me old, but anyway. See, I have whiffed Hans's third skill now, because now that we got the art cards, we're gonna overgauge. I honestly have no idea how she's gonna do here. Bascalore, thank you for the 26 months. I'm worried if my mic is where it is right here, that if I start ranting out of the blue, like, motherfucker, it's gonna be way too loud. And Mr. Iceit, thank you for the 33 months of being scammed. True. Yeah, I gotta find the right happy medium. Yeah, we went from not having our NP, now we're at 174. By the way, though, check this out. Let's do that again. That's a good skill. It really is. That's very strong. And so this is interesting in that it just blocks healing, period. It's not heal down, like healing just won't work. Which is just better than heal down. So I could see that being good occasionally. They don't have that many bosses, though, that are healing based, but they might in the future. Her third passive is anti-beast, so that's kind of interesting. Alright, let's see the damage. I kind of want to cast her second skill again, just because... You know what? Fuck it. We're whipping the battery, but who cares? Yeah, that second skill, that's very good. Because it's team-wide, not just for her. Hey, Johnny. John, excuse me. So her stun is AoE, but it is a 60% chance. So not the best. Man, I think she's gonna be really good though as like a backup support because of that third skill. Dude, imagine if you need AoE, right? So you're like in an AoE challenge quest, and then you're working with Merlin, because Merlin buffs her up anyway, because she's Buster. But then Merlin is making the NP every turn, and then she's making the NP every 2 turns, and they're feeding into each other, right? And like, she'll make it easier to get Merlin's NP. So that's even more NP for everybody. So that's gonna, like, especially in really hard content, that's just gonna be stupid. Like, that is gonna be so busted. And then, like, the third unit can be anything. That third unit could easily be whatever is best for the kind of fight you're in, right? If you need survivability, more damage. Because she doesn't have to be the damage dealer, right? You could do Merlin, Tiamat, and then another damage dealer. Like, that's completely fine. Also, the heal adds up quite a bit, too. I'm about to Chengong NP just because. Let's not do that. I think her only issue is her damage is a bit mid. But she is kind of that, supposed to be that hybrid of damage and support, I think. Yeah, the new mic, the main difference, it's actually not that different in terms of sound quality. It's that it doesn't pick up so much sound around the room, so it doesn't get the reverb. Because I have really high ceilings. I'm actually surprised this mic is doing as well as it is, because it's an omnidirectional mic, which actually I didn't want, but it was just the best quality I could find. But anyway, my ceiling is just so high, and this is a kind of a big room, so my voice is bouncing off so much stuff, it's ridiculous. But this mic does a much better job of not picking that up. Or my other mic just picked up everything. Okay, that was really bad timing for him to just obliterate Chengong like that. If I yelled crazy loud, I might still be able to do distant rants. We'll see. Wait, did they give... Those are new voice lines. When did they do that? Was that this patch? I wish I didn't skip that first one. Those are absolutely new voice lines. I knew he got new My Room lines in CBC, but I didn't realize he changed his skill lines. That's weird, because I've actually been using him a lot these last few days, but I was playing muted, so I didn't hear it. That sucks. Alright, let's see here. But yeah, Tiamat seems pretty good. Like, she's not gonna be super meta. I think it's gotta be the right circumstance for her to be good. Or like really good. But I think she's always decent. Like, she's got decent team support. She kind of seems like Himiko, where she helps a support team live and do supporty stuff, but then she does some damage. That's kind of what she seems like to me. This third skill though is super good, like no question. And then she's got a 50% battery because everyone has to have a 50% battery now. I want to Leonidas NP, but I need to break this bar. Taking too long here. Come on. Get it. I should have put Buster last. I thought it'd be fine. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Fuck, dude. I was like, yeah, no, I don't have to do a full damage turn. This is gonna be really bad showing, but some of that's just bad luck and little things like that. I'm gonna restart, actually. That's just terrible. That's not gonna... Because I'm holding... It's so bad because I've had to hold my skills there, and now I have to hold them even longer. That's super bad. Yeah, we were playing that pretty bad from the beginning. Right, now we have to actually find Tiamat again. I actually got Tiamat on my ult in a single 10 pull. Don't at me. But my ult account doesn't have the Rider gems. So I can't level her skills. Which is kind of strange. I'm not sure why I'm lacking Rider gems. I don't farm much on the
scum
ult account, but wow, no one has Tiamat. Is she not popular? What the fuck? How does no one have Tiamat? Like, I was, you know, sometimes when there's a, Jesus, like, dude, I cannot get these notifications. Like, I don't get it. I've gone to my notification settings and turned them all down a trillion times, and they never get any quieter. Like, something's broken. But thank you for the 26 months. Lost has it in all slot. Who the fuck uses the all slot? Okay, that's level 100, but, you know, she doesn't have command codes, so it's fine. That kind of evens out. All right, let's try to be a little bit more optimal this time. I mean, I don't think you could possibly know that, Water Mage. People are always saying shit like that based on nothing. Like, people are so bad at understanding, how do I put this? It's like, personal experience is not indicative of, like, what's actually happening in the world, right? Now, I'm sure she's getting rolled on a decent amount. I'd be surprised if she wasn't. But it's like, you're not going to see people posting on YouTube and Twitter, like, if they're not rolling for her. Like, basically, anytime a new character comes out, if you just look at the optics vaguely, it always looks like everyone's rolling for them. When Karen came out, all you'd see is people talking about, like, if they got her or didn't got her, and, like, posting pictures on their rolls on Discord and stuff. That's all you're going to see no matter what it is, right? You're not going to have, like, an anti-crowd to that, right? That's not really how you can judge if a character's popular or not. It doesn't work that way. But that's just like an issue on the internet where people will see, you know, oh, I see I'll post on YouTube, I saw some on Discord, I saw some on the wiki, so it must be so popular, but you're gonna see that no matter what. Because like with Karen, you know, all the social media was just covered in people talking about her and rolling for her and stuff, but she was the worst performing banner like in the game's history, right? Now I don't think Tiamat's gonna be the worst banner in the game's history. That would shock the shit out of me. But yeah, there's really no way to know. Like the one way you can tell, like for example, if a character is popular before you see sales data and stuff, is if it's on the support lists everywhere, right? Like I remember when like Castoria came out, right? She was just, you know, it was so obvious to see everyone was rolling for her because she's just on every goddamn support list, even the randoms that aren't on your friends list and stuff like that, right? Now we haven't looked very carefully with Tiamat, but I kind of doubt Tiamat's going to be all over friends lists, you know, that quickly. Because you have to be crazy popular for that. Alright, she actually has art cards this time. I think you throw this out. You know, I guess you could, you know what? I don't think you do that. But too late now. I think you just fire these turn one. Yeah, that's way better. Let's see. I want Chengong's defense up, but I'd like to save the battery. Is it in? Nah, I'll whiff it. Not dying is good. I mean, there's no event going on right now, so you'd be pretty dumb if you slotted it in the event tab. Although, maybe I'm having too much faith in humanity here. Also, that NP voice line. Voicing this character must have been difficult. I don't think she's that good of a DPS. Like, it depends. So she's certainly good for farming because she's AoE, she's alter ego, so she gets effective damage against a decent amount of classes, and then she has a battery and a bunch of damage up, right? So no problem for farming. But like, I don't know if she's that good in challenge quests because it's not that much damage. And in challenge quests, okay, so for whales, what I'm about to say doesn't matter very much because they win so quickly, they don't have to care about defense very much. But for normal players, alter egos are a little tricky to use because they don't live it nearly as long. Because they take normal damage from everything. Like, they don't counterclass in that way. They only half counterclass. And then she doesn't have evade or invulnerability or any of that. And it's not like she's doing that much damage. And she's not good at looping, right? She can NP the one time, maybe with the battery from the teammates or K-scope, and then use her battery skill and then NP again, but then you're done, right? So I think there's definitely, on the damage front, there's better people, right? Not that she's bad. I don't think she's a weak damage dealer, but I don't think she's so like, wow, look at this crate. She's just looping all the time. Look at these huge numbers, right? Like, she's really not doing that. So, like, her damage is just decent, right? She seems like a decent damage. Unless I'm missing something with an overcharge effect or whatever. She just seems like an okay damage dealer. But then she does really good support as well. So it's like, do you need that? Because then you can do, because she's like half support, right? So you can have 2 supports and then her, so you have 2.5 supports, right? Kind of like with Himiko when you do those kind of setups. And that can be really busted. But yeah, I'm not sure people are going to be putting her on their lists because, like, I don't see people summoning her for farming too much. I don't really see that. But we'll see. I mean, I think for farming, she's got a lot of options because she doesn't even have to be the primary DPS, right? She can be there to clear wave 1 and 2, or just one of the waves, right? And then you're switching into someone else, and that someone else, if they're NPing on turn 3, they will have gotten her 3rd skill twice. That's pretty awesome, right? So she's definitely got uses like that. It'll be interesting to see that. I wish I had story replay, because I'd be doing this right now if I did. I would just start going through the main story, fighting all the major bosses, right? Like every cavalry boss, every beast boss, neutral bosses, Avengers, right? Because she's applicable against all those. And make her the only rare thing on the team, right? But then use the most reasonable free-to-play stuff with her and see how she does, right? Because that really shows you, like, how much value she has opposed to how much she's actually getting from the team instead. But yeah, no story replays, so gonna take a minute to test some of those things. You know, I guess I just throw this out. I'll do art last. I really wish we had defense removal command code. It's lowering her damage a lot, but she is level 100, so it kind of evens out. We are doing better than last time. Tiamat versus Tiamat ultimately would be very easy because Tiamat just isn't that hard of a boss fight. Man, if I just had my NP this turn, we could go so much faster. Yeah, the 2-turn cooldown's really good, but still, I think her total toolkit is good, but I don't think it's like meta-defining. We'll see though. I do think she might be a little meta-defining if it's a really hard boss fight and you need a lot of support, right? Because you can absolutely use 2 full-on supports like Merlin, Castoria, and then Tiamat, right? And you kind of have 3 full-on supports, but then you're doing some damage, right? And being able to consistently give this second skill to Merlin and Castoria, that is really powerful. I shouldn't have done that because if I break his health bar, he's going to remove those debuffs automatically. I didn't think that one through. Well, the heal is not as good as it looks. It's kind of like a heal per turn effect, right? Like you're casting it often, but on the turn that you don't cast it, like if you just do the math, right? If you look at the heals per turn effects out there that are healing every turn, not every other turn, her heal actually isn't really busted. It's just consistent. Now, on the one hand, Shin Gong, this is not a good turn to do the Buster. Trying to think who to taunt. I could taunt Hans, but he's at 94%. If I taunt Chen, it's just kind of meh. I could, you know what? Let's see what her death rate is. Her death rate is 30%. So Lobo would have to hit a 60% and then a 30%. Theoretically, I am super favored if I do that. Am I going to regret this? Nah, it's fine, guys. No, it's totally fine. This has never gone wrong. The reason I'm doing this is I want her to get NP from being attacked, so. I think she's actually going to be a little bit similar in principle, not in gameplay, but in principle to Summer BB, where the stronger the team is, the more she's going to get out of that third skill. Like if she's working with weaker stuff, like right now, her giving like Qin Gong is NP, that's not doing a lot. But if Qin Gong was Merlin, now that is doing a lot. So I think that is definitely going to be a thing for her. Man, I'm kind of awkward with that 50% battery here. Really nice for Hans though, because you don't oftentimes, especially in this fight, because you got to worry about the evade. It's kind of hard to get Hans' art cards off without it like slowing your team down, where she's just passively getting Hans NP gain. And her horns are pretty ridiculous in this stage. You look at her final ascension though, she like summons them, I think. Like they're only that big in combat, it seems like. And then the CGI on her NP is terrible. Let's not kid ourselves here. I don't even get it. You only see her from two perspectives, so they'd only have to have drawn her twice if they wanted to make a 2D sprite. And that would have looked so much better. Like, it's not that hard to draw, guys, I promise. Like, I know animation is complicated. I've done a little bit of it myself, but it's like, with the budget they have, drawing a monster is not that much harder than drawing, like, Chen Gong, right? Like, that frontal shot of her, you could actually draw that. Like, it's not that bad. Like, it's a bit more work than a typical, like, cut-in for a servant. But it annoys me that they always use 3D models anytime something's even remotely complicated. Like, not even, like, really complicated. Alright, I'm gonna whiff this again, but I will say, the survivability she's adding to the team is noticeable. Generally, you're not gonna get to turn 8 with both these guys still alive, unless you're, like, actively wasting a lot of resources on doing it, which would slow down your damage a lot, where we're not having that issue here. Really want Hans's NP, but I gotta Ooga Booga. It calls to me. The reason Fate's been using so much CGI is just they're lazy. I mean, they're just trying to save time, save budget, not hire as many artists, that kind of thing. Okay, she's actually doing, now that I'm looking at this, because last time we were doing really bad, because last time we were on turn 7 and we hadn't even broke the health bar yet. We're on turn 8 and we almost won, so I definitely played better on this one. But regardless of that, this is actually a really good performance for an AoE character here. Like, if we got really lucky, we might even have won by now. So yeah, this is definitely a good performance. I think I've used enough AoE servants here to see that. Yeah, I know they have money though. But that's the thing about a lot of big developers, is they don't want to spend it. It's like, this is very common amongst big publishers. They'll try to cut corners, and like Activision Blizzard, right? Massive company. They pay below standard for the tech industry, like for their employees, big time. Like they lowball so hard, and that's unfortunately very common. Okay, man, the deck shuffles. We could have just like won, but the deck shuffles are just super wrecking us right now. I almost want to cycle. I want to cycle Hans. The thing I'm worried about is the deck's going to shuffle again, because I'm about to get Tiamat's cards, but if I shuffle again, maybe we won't get them again, which would really suck. I guess I'll just wait, but that sucks. But yeah, it's 98%. There we go. But it's kind of silly when FGO is one of their top money makers and they refuse to like invest in it. What really blows my mind is they've been low, like you can look at their website and you can see what they pay. You know, they've been paying poorly for a long time. So Lisangle has been trying to hire for quite some time, and they were being unsuccessful. They had the same job postings up for an insane amount of time. They weren't getting anybody. Normally, what you do when that happens, logically, is like, okay, we're not offering a whole lot of money. No one of note is applying. We're not filling these positions. We need to pay better, right? And then maybe you'll get people to actually, of caliber. But what they did was, okay, we can't hire anybody at this rate. So let's keep the rate the same. And now let's go to colleges and really focus on trying to recruit people directly out of college. Because they'll work for less, because they want experience, and they don't know any better, and, you know, they don't have as many options. And that's what they did. That's what they did. And, like, it wasn't just one time. They've gone to multiple events targeting college kids, and they've gone to colleges and stuff. And that's, like, the only hiring they've done. It's like, that is so stupid. It's like, instead of raising your offering to attract better talent, you're lowering your standards to hire worse talent to match the little money you're wanting to offer, right? That just doesn't make any sense. Okay, we can kill here because we can ping off. We can Tiamat NP, and we could even Qingong NP now, and we're definitely going to do 42k even with the evade, so we can just reset now. So 11 turns, could have been like 10 turns or so, but that's a very good performance. And not only that, no one died. And that's because of Tiamat's second skill. And it enabled Hans's NP more, and I could have done it even more if I had wanted to. So that's pretty impressive. Let's try her out on Richard. Lost, are you here? So you were here a second ago, because we could use some command codes if we're gonna fight Richard. Definitely the heal boost. Heal boost command code will be super good. Maybe, trying to think what to put it on. Maybe heal boost on Buster, anti-dragon on Buster, like Merlin on Art. I'm not sure what on the other Art. Here, while Lost does that, let me do one stage at least of Grandpa's buff quest. Sure, why not? So, chat, when I was making the tier list video, I'd been testing for it for like a year now, like off and on. I've got a giant notebook full of notes too. Crazy. Anyway, every unit on the list I used multiple times, right? And I've used all of them a bunch, you know, in prior years and videos and everything else, right? So a lot of data. But the one unit on the entire list I did not test. The only unit on the list I did not test at all when making the video or leading up to it was Angra. And I'm really confident that that doesn't matter because I've used Angra enough in the past and I know what he can do. It's like maybe he should be a little bit higher or a little bit lower because I'm maybe a little rusty, but I just did not feel the need to actually use Angra. But guys, clearly the whole tier list is mute now. I got no practical data on Angra, guys. We're doomed. Let's see. I mean, my voice doesn't sound that different. There's just no reverb. That's really all it is. So chat, not to bitch too much, but having made multiple tier list videos now, I hate doing it completely, and I hate the comments so much. And it's crazy. Because I knew this was going to happen, because it happened last time. But, here, let me get my notebook. Let me, so you can hear this shit. Come on, get over here. There it is. My fluffy plushie was in the way. I have a chair next to me. It's got the fluffy plushie in it. And the notebook was on a table behind that, so... Anyway... This is the notebook. Yeah, I guess you can't really hear the pages just flipping, but I got this giant notebook full of notes and shit. All right, it's a lot of units, right? There's like 80 low stars now. That's a lot of shit, right? And so I remember the last time I made the tier list video, I was like, okay, I know you're gonna mess up something, right? You're gonna say debuff instead of buff. You're gonna say 20 instead of 30 at some point. You're gonna say assassin counters caster instead of writer at some point, right? It's just gonna happen. Now, intelligent people right? It's kind of like if you slip up a word, but the sentence makes it really obvious what word you intended. There's no need to be like obtuse and act like you don't understand what they're saying, or you run with the obvious flub. You see that all the time. You'll see someone talking about like Devil May Cry, right? Weird example, but someone's talking about Devil May Cry and they're talking about Virgil and like Dante, right? And then when they're talking about like the story or something in a really obvious part, they're clearly meant to say Dante, right? But they accidentally say Virgil, and then the YouTube comments are like, that didn't happen to Virgil, that happened to Dante. It's like, of course it did, you stupid fuck. It's just a slip up, right? Like, that's just being obtuse, dude. I hate that shit when people do that. And anyway, so you have these like people that are just like looking to show off or looking to discredit you. They don't want your opinion to make sense. They don't want, they're just looking to debunk you, right? And so they'll, instead of like getting into the meat of your point, if you're like talking about why a character is good or bad or whatever, instead of addressing the point you're actually making, they're like potentially obtuse and act like your whole argument is invalid because you said the wrong thing, right? You said the wrong cooldown length, or you said it was debuff when it was buff, or you know, it got the class messed up or whatever, right? Like, you're not gonna cover that many fucking units, right? And like that video was 4 goddamn hours, and actually recording it was like 6 hours. I you know, I edited out a lot of like wait time and, you know, in between sentences and that kind of thing. But anyway, of course you're gonna slip up that kind of stuff. And like anyone with a goddamn brain can, you know, be like, oh yeah, it's a slip up, obviously. And you can still look at like, okay, well, how, you know, what's the point being made? Is this still valid? Okay, yeah, it still makes sense, right? But they don't do that. They just look for a reason to be like, oh, no, you're wrong because you said debuff when it's a buff. Therefore, your whole placement of this unit makes no sense. And I'm not gonna actually back this up with any argument, by the way. But yeah, I find that really annoying, and I before I even made this, you know, update to the tier list, I knew it was going to happen. I knew people were going to do that, but it's just like, you've got to be kidding me. The only way you could really do it without making a mistake is if you didn't go in depth on each character. So let's say that the video was an hour long, so you're not going as in depth. If it's only an hour long, you can fact check yourself a bunch, right? But it's like, that video took so much time to make, and when it was done, I couldn't sit there and listen to the entire 4 hours reasonably, right? And then correct it and go back and then re-record the stuff that I messed up. And like, when you're editing it, I did catch a few things. A few times I was like, oh, I misspoke there, and there's a few parts where I re-recorded, like where I had said 20% instead of 30% and things like that. But you don't catch every little thing, right? Of course not. Well, my notes aren't really, there's nothing really to read. My notes are mainly like, this unit won this fast. You know, they're doing this much damage on average. You know, and like some of the under the hood stuff I write down to try to remember it. And that kind of stuff. But I don't write down a thesis per character. I don't do it that way. I just write down data, then maybe I should, though. Like, maybe I should. Why is Chen Gong alive? Oh, it's because I killed the thing last turn. But anyway, yeah, maybe I should do that. I don't think I'm ever gonna make a 5-star. If I make a 5-star video at this point, I have to change the format. And the thing is, I don't want to change the format because I actually like the format, because I like how it's in-depth, really explains things. It's in a one-stop shop. That's the thing I like the most, is like everything's right there. You don't have to hunt for it. You don't have to go like, well, which video was that one character in, right? You just go there and you go through the timestamps and everything is there, right? But it's like impossible now. There is just way too many 4 stars and 5 stars. I mean, it's way fucking too many. So it's not really possible. Well, it would be if I didn't stream, right? Because what I would do is I would just work on it over like a month, right? And it's just like the thing that you do for work, right? But there's no way I'm gonna be able to have the time to make that while also streaming. Because like with the regular tier list there, I took a couple of days off, maybe 3 or 4 days off. You know, I streamed in between a little bit. but it wasn't that big of a deal. If I wanted to make a 5-star tier list video, I couldn't stream for weeks. Like, literally weeks, right? And that's just not worth it. But yeah, I'd have to change the format, but at that point I wouldn't want to make it. Like, the reason I'm making it is because I do like the format, and I think it's actually worth a damn. They've been doing a little bit better about releasing FP units lately. They went a really long time there without doing any... like, honestly, most of the new additions to the video were things that were added kind of recently. Like Zhangzhou and Zhufu, right? Those aren't that old. And those were the only new 3-stars. And again, those were recent. So yeah, they just went a really long time without doing anything. But hopefully that will change. Alright, that took forever because I was rambling. Let's go test Tiamat against the dragon here. We could also use her against Gwen. I think that's kind of mean, but it'd be interesting to see. Gwen is nice because he's the opposite of the dragon, where he's so bursty with his damage output, where Richard barely does any damage. Because, like, Richard's damage is so much lower than a normal boss's. It's really only practical for looking at your sandbag damage, right? It doesn't really matter on the survivability front, but generally survivability it's the other half of the game. You deal with it a lot. I don't know why we don't have a free-to-play quick support. I don't even think it's them hating it. I think it's like they are just lazy. I really think that's the thing. It's like they're just so slow at adding anything into the game, let alone budget stuff. I mean, we're 8 years in and we don't have an FP summon single target caster. Like, are you kidding me? 8 years in. Right, like, how have you not done that? But it's like they're just not paying attention. Now, I will say, early on, okay, it's a little complicated because it's not like they just coincidentally haven't done it. If you look at the first, like, 5 years of the game, or 4 years of the game or whatever, they absolutely were dodging quick support. Because, I mean, that's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that Scatty was so late into the game, right? Like, for so long, you had Merlin and Waver and Tam, right? That was the meta for a really, really long time. And it's because... And it's also the same reason why a lot of the old units, if you look at a Rider Mordred, 100-Face Hassan, Kuritsugu, when you'd have art NPs that had decent hit counts, they would always lower the NP gain on the NP specifically. And it's because they were trying to prevent NPs from refunding themselves. Right? But now they've embraced that because it ended up happening anyway, and it became the meta, and now they gotta, like... You know, if you want to attract people to roll on things for meta reasons, they have to play into that. But, like, that was clearly a design decision in the early days, was to try to limit art NPs from refunding themselves. I mean, it's clear as day that they did that. And it was the same for Quick, right? I think they knew that Quick Up is broken. Because it is. Quick Up is the best up effect, right? Because it does everything. Where Art Up doesn't do really anything for the Stargen side of things, and Buster Up doesn't do anything for the NP gain side of things. Where Quick Up is just everything. Your Quick cards are just broken as shit. Like, I really stand by this. Quick is the best card in the game. It's just they've never, and I mean ever had good support. Right? They're always not for a short period of time. They had the best support because of Scatty. Although even then, she was only good when there was 2 Scatties. You hit that critical mass, and she didn't have the survivability of Merlin. But anyway, so for the longest time, Quick has had very little support. They had Scatty for a bit there, but then she got outclassed by Castoria and such. So Quick has kind of just got a problem in that sense. But yeah, they're the best card type, like, hands down, because they just do all 3 things really well. They do damage, no problem. They do Stargen the best, and they do NP gain, very comparable to Art. Like, it's just, that's crazy. So when you get Quick Up, you're just, the values through the roof. Like, if you had Castoria, but this was quick up right here, and instead of art up, that is so fucking broken. Like, that is so much more broken than Castoria already is. And she's really broken. That's the thing. She's super, super broken. So, yeah, it was just obvious for so long that they were intentionally not making a unit of the caliber of Merlin or Waver for quick. That it took them so long to do it. And me and a lot of other people had predicted if they ever did do it, it was going to break the game. And, yeah, it did. Scatty was so broken. And the thing about Scatty is she's the reason for Castoria. It's easy to overlook that, but the reason Castoria is so broken and they overtuned her so much is because they were trying to compete with Scatty. They were trying to make sure she was a viable option compared to the just bullshit Scatty was doing at the time. Yeah, and then they made Scatty number 2, which is power creep on Scatty for the most part. Obviously, her NP's not as good, and a few other things. But in the short term, she definitely power creeps herself. Yeah, I'm hoping Dumas is going to be the quick support. I really hope so. Okay, I have to actually kill one of these because I didn't bring a Rosh. Thankfully, we got a decent hand for doing that. Yeah, no, you can do triple Scatty. It's funny. I mean, Scatty's NP was buffed. Actually, I think Scatty's NP is really good now. It's just not good for the way, like, really advanced Metaslave accounts or whale accounts play, because they're go, right? And by the way, there's a reason in boss fights why people are so desperate to 3-turn. It's not just to show off, it's because bosses are so much easier if you only have to deal with the boss mechanics for 3 turns. So you can front load your Mystic Code survivability is a whole turn, right? You only got 2 more turns to deal with then, right? If your support's got a team-wide survivability like Castoria's NP or Merlin's second skill, there's another turn, and if the important DPS has a survival skill, boom, that's 3 turns. You're invincible, right? Much easier because of that. But yeah, in fights that you're not gonna win that quickly, and I'd say most of the player base, overwhelmingly, is not meta-slaving, or doesn't even know how to meta-slave, or is not a whale, or what have you. I think the average player is not. I would bet so much money that if you looked at every single clear, and when a new challenge quest drops, if you look at the clear time of every single account that does it, the average turn clear is probably so much slower than 3 turns. It's not even close, right? More like a content creator, show off whale thing that skews people's idea of how the game is supposed to be played or how it is being played, and that kind of thing. Not that there's anything wrong with playing it that way. It's just, I think the average player is absolutely going to benefit from Scatty's new NP, right, with the 5-turn effect. I think the average player is going to really get a lot out of that, where whale shit isn't going to really get anything out of that. Because the fight is just over before it really starts to see that value. Yeah, the Castoria's whole Pierce Invulnerability thing, Pierce Invulnerability not working on Castoria's Invulnerability is dumb, because it breaks a lot of boss fights. I truly wish they hadn't done that. It's not even fair. It's not even fair, because you'll have bosses like Guadia that are very much balanced around the idea that they're doing that turn 1, team wipe. And there's ways to survive it even before, but it would require massive investment on the team, which would hurt you in other areas. It's like a balance thing, right? It's like that's what makes the boss the boss. If you remove it, the boss isn't even a boss fight anymore. Like, if you use Castoria against Guadia, it's just a joke. I mean, it is just a fucking joke. And then what happens with some of the newer bosses, and I've seen this clear as crystal in some challenge quests and stuff, is they'll add Pierce Invulnerability now almost with the expectation of you being able to stop it with Castoria. And then so if you don't have Castoria, or you just don't want to use her, or whatever it is, then the fight is exponentially harder. It's so much harder. It's not just that you're missing out on the power of Castoria, it's now you can't deal with this gimmick very well. It's not good. It really does suck for the game. Okay, I don't think heal on quick is a good idea. I think the heal should be on art. Very much so, because Heal, so I've played FGO a lot, chat, believe it or not. And it's taken me a while to like really math it out, but the heal I think is always best on a double card that sometimes you're not going to use both of, right? So like for example, you want and same for the heal boost. You want the heal boost to be on a card that you can use any turn, all the time, no matter what, right? And because the heal boost is not bad if you use it when you don't actually need it. So you want the heal boost on the card you're most likely to use every fucking turn, or you can use every fucking turn. Where the heal, it's a really tricky spot because you want to be able to use it freely. You want it to be on a card color they're like, yep, I'm happy to use that card color. But you also want it to be on a card that you can skip. And generally, now it changes a bit depending on the type of unit it is. Because like sometimes you actually want it on a buster card. You have 2 buster cards, and it depends on like what kind of NP you have and stuff. But I do find it is best on a card that you have 2 of, because normally if you have 2 of it, you're happy to use that color because the unit's normally designed around that color to an extent. But then also if you want to dodge it, it's okay, and you can use another one. That being said though, and this is probably what Lost is thinking, it is better than it used to be on your like off color, because Quick is obviously her off color. Because of Brave Chains. Or because of Rainbow Chains, excuse me. So you dodge it. The problem is, like, this is why I don't like it, is you might want a Rainbow Chain on the turn you don't want to heal. Right? And that's why I like it on art, because, okay, you're like, I want a Rainbow Chain. I don't want to use the heal. I'll just use the art card that doesn't have it. Right? Okay, like right here, I want a Rainbow Chain. But now I kind of can't because I don't want to whiff. You know what? We can probably whiff the heal. It's probably okay to whiff the heal because of her 3rd skill. And Richard does this. This is a terrible testing ground for Tiamat, aside from her damage, like how quickly she beats it, because any unit with like repeat survivability is just way too strong in this fight, and it's not practical because against a real boss, they're going to be doing so much more damage. Okay, go full Stargen here. Technically, full Stargen is art first, but I'm gonna do the Buster and see if we get like overkill right away. Well, good enough. I got Tiamat on my ult. I'm not gonna roll on my main, but I got her on my ult. Alright, let's think about this here. So this, we don't want to whiff. This is fine. You know, I should have cast this earlier. That's really hard to think about because it's so abnormal, but I should have cast this earlier because I could have the NP up and it could be off cooldown anyway. Also, we didn't land the stun. Kind of shows how low impact this skill can be, though. If it's a single target situation, it's pretty likely this will happen, and their second skill is just Curse. It's not very good, but she's not designed for these kind of situations, obviously. But yeah, it is possible for this second skill to be crazy low impact. Oh right, it's a saber though, so we're gonna be doing no damage. We're still gonna live forever though, because he doesn't do the counterclass damage to us. I guess we Buster Chain. No, actually, we want that Merlin. So this isn't going to test anything. It's not. I guess you could like double her damage essentially to get the turn clear in a more normal circumstance. But like, it's not going to test her survivability because the boss doesn't do enough damage, and it's going to be really bad for testing her damage because she's going to be doing none of it. I guess we can't use her against Gwen because of that. Because Gwen is also a saber. I don't have the heal boost right now, but I'm gonna throw this out anyway. Man, we were neutral, we'd be getting some nice data on damage here, but quite the opposite. She might well be able to beat this anyway, though. That yell, though. Yeah, she did really well against Lobo. No one on the team died. And it was really budgety team. No one died, and then we won pretty quickly for an AoE servant. Actually, we won decently quick, even if she wasn't AoE, but yeah, it's pretty good. I want to heal boost for the second skill. This is awkward. Am I just gonna whiff the quick here? I guess so. I wish we had story replay. There's so many stages. Or just hell, if we could do challenge quests from the past, you know, do like Summer 3 challenge quest or something. Or the Maze event challenge quest. There's plenty of good AoE challenge quests out there. What now? We'll get our NP no matter what. This has got the better crit rate. Nah. Well, I guess the one thing that's gonna kill her here is the boss's NP damage. She has no hard survivability. I don't know though, every like third NP she can use the Mystic Code. Man. Really awkward, like these command codes and the card colors. I really want to heal boost, but then I'd have to Buster Chain and I'd be whiffing so much NP gain. Do damage. I can't imagine what like voice directing would be like for this character, trying to tell them, okay, now, you know, scream like this. So if you use the heal boost efficiently, she can essentially heal for 2,200 every 2 turns. Sounds like a doorbell. I mean, so far she be living. I want to test her out against, though, a cavalry class boss that does actual damage. That's a much better test. Her true value, though, is going to be in team play, a million %, because her third skill affects the entire team. That's just so much worth. Ooh. 98%. Oh, you kill me, game. I actually got the stun this time. Kind of annoying that her damage is tied to that skill. I mean, I guess the way they're seeing it is like you use it for the damage up and the other stuff is a bonus, which, I mean, fair enough, but stun is something that you want to be able to use at a very specific time. It's just the stun's not reliable anyway. Yeah, so I think she's good. I don't think she's busted. I think she only gets a bit busted if she's already on a team that'd be busted anyway. Right? Like, when you're using this third skill consistently on Castoria or Merlin, it really is crazy strong. But I think most players aren't going to get, like, that much value out of it. It's good. I think if you get Tiamat, she'll help your account loads. If she's, like, one of your first 5 stars, I think she can carry a decent amount. But I don't think she's, like, power creep. I don't think she's anything too exceptional. But she's absolutely good, like very much in the positive. It's just, I think a lot of other 5-star DPS supporty type characters or full DPS or full support, they can help just as much, if not more. Okay, there's really nothing to test here though. It's like, the boss just doesn't do enough damage. It's so easy for her to stay at full HP here. But I mean, that's true for almost anyone that has like repeat healing in that fight. She's definitely unique. Yeah, I'm actually happy with the character. I like when characters are unique and good, but not like completely meta. Because super meta is just boring. Because super meta is at this point is so over the top and is so much stronger than you need it to be. It's dull. We really don't have a good cavalry boss we can just fight whenever we want. I'm trying to think of one of my accounts. We got Abigail, but that's like when alter egos are extra good. Also, can you summon a friend support for Abigail? I forget. It's been a while since I've fought Abigail. I think you can. But that's like too easy. I'd want to like Assassin Lee, right? That'd be a really good one. Or just any AoE challenge quest. Cleo's too easy, but we could still use it to kind of like sandbag, but it's just too easy. It's not enough stats. My voice always sounds that way. You just couldn't hear it before because of the reverb. The reverb is just gone. But I always sound very nasally, and that's just because I have really, really bad allergies. And it's a 24/7. I have never like experienced life without allergies. Like, I've got allergies year-round. I'm allergic to everything. And the main thing is I'm allergic to everything, but the main thing is I just have, like, really small nasal passageways. So just, like, the slightest amount of reaction will, mess up my breathing and whatnot. But yeah, it sucks. Actually, I've been saying this for years, but I was just talking to my doctor, and they really do think I need to have a surgery to, like, try to widen my nasal passageways, so I may have to do that. If that happens, I won't be able to stream for a good while. But, yeah, I really do need to get on top of that. It just needs to happen. We do have an account with Megalos and, Columbus. I'm trying to remember which one it is. Can't be this one. Which one is it? Might be the Herc account? Let me see. Could be the Steno account. I think it's either the Steno account or the Herc account. I'll check here in just a second. Yeah, it's not this one. All right, hold on. Let me take a peek. All right, this is my main. Of course it's not this one. What the hell am I thinking? Let's see here. Oh, I have not patched the Steno account yet, so give me 1 second here. Okay, there we go. I think my screen size is a bit off. Give me 1 second, chat. I'm gonna BRB real quick. All right. I have returned. Yeah, the collab doesn't start for real until the 26th. This is basically like Nitocris, where the game has just been dead for like a month, so they have to do something. Which, honestly, this just doesn't work, in my opinion. It's like... It's nice to have a new character, but if there's nothing to do with the new character, who cares? Not like the thing is, most events don't give you anything to do either. Like, oh man, daily farming. Like, there's not much difference between the average event free quest and like the green dailies and shit like that. Actually, most of them are easier, I would say. I've not been on this Thinno account in a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, strengthenings are so boring when they're just a couple of units and those units are gold, because most people don't have them. Like, why? No one is like, oh, I'm so happy for these strengthening quests for these characters I don't have. That's why it's really only hype when they do like the big batch and it covers a lot of characters, so it's gonna be someone you have, and there's some low stars, so everyone has those. Right, like that's a little exciting, but it's like, if you don't have Da Vinci or Gramps, which I'd say loads of people don't, who cares? All right, 1.5. Hey, there we go. Good call, chat. Do I have lost? I do. The only bad thing is, this account is kind of random. It's not as developed as like the Herc account. So its ability to support Tiamat might be a bit scuffed. Although that's a good way to show the character off if the team's kind of but then she's doing really well anyway. Okay, I mean, we got Mash and Hans. That's plenty, really. That's like the backbone of free-to-play right there. And that's why I recommend people level these, because that's what you need. And even if this is like Castoria that you're summoning, right? If you have your friend's Castoria and you can support that with Mash and Hans, and then you bring your best DPS, that's really, really good. That's like the goal. All right, let's see. What else do we got? So she's Buster. Do we have Qingong? We do. He's scuffed as hell, though. Might still be worth it, though. Do I have Alex? I doubt it. Nope. Alright, what do I have for buff removal? Guys, guys, we're showing off Tiamat, guys. That's pretty funny that this account got her as well. Shame on you. Wait, what? What? What do you want, Lost? What are you on about now, eh? Out with it. Spit it out. Not using Steno on the Steno account. I mean, we can. I mean, she has buff removal, actually. And we are fighting a Rider. Actually, she might be too good because of that. What else? I mean, yeah, Qingong, and then... Asclepius wouldn't be bad. So her problem is hard survivability. That's like the big flaw. So Columbus's NP will kill her. Got Mash for that, the Mystic Code for that. Yeah, that's why I'm singing David. Maybe actually David sooner. Surely this account has David. Yep. And has the second skill at 10. Alright. Oh yeah, we do get Steno's attack up. Chat, please tell me Tiamat has a voice line for Europa and or vice versa. I'm guessing no, because they always miss out on really awesome like interactions like that. Because Europa is not originally from Earth, but she's been like adopted by proper, you know, human history. And then Europa sees everyone as her grandchildren, right? But Tiamat is the mother of like all life on Earth, right? So that'd be an interesting conversation there. Well, obviously she has one for Enkidu. I don't think that's surprising anyone. She has one yelling at you for not picking your lunch. Like going off to school. Just off to save the world, guys. So I want to point out, every servant is like canonically summonable, but not. It's like you have them all, but you don't have any of them. It's really weird the way they do it. And like they'll just casually show up in interludes, like you've had them the whole time. But they can even be in an interlude and you don't have them, right? Like Enkidu's and Lobo's interlude, but you might not have Enkidu. Like it's very weird. They have to like walk this weird line with that. They can never be like specific. Like when you're fighting Ort, you're just summoning servants. They're not saying which ones. They're not saying what abilities they're using because they don't know what you have, right? So they're always having to walk that like weird line in the story. And it kind of sucks, but obviously you can't write every character that any account might have, let alone which ones they actually use. But what I'm getting at is if you actually had Tiamat, now she's weaker in this form. She basically had to like start over to be summonable. So she's like in her like earlier life cycle or whatever. That's why she's like larval Tiamat. So she's not as like powerful, like not even close. Because I don't think she wants to be like summoned as a beast. The beast version has self-manifestation, but you know, beast things. Anyway, but regardless of that, it's still fucking Tiamat. She's still way stronger than the average servant. It's not even close. And she's got like a lot of knowledge and stuff because she's from, you know, the primordial era, right? So if you're dealing with this like lost belt issue, and then you've got goddamn Tiamat, right? That would change things so much, right? The way you'd be like approaching the problem would change dramatically. You know, your like day-to-day situation is very different now, because you know it's Tiamat, right? Kind of a big deal. But yeah, they can't really reflect that in the story or the writing or anything, because it's just kind of broken, and you don't know who has her and who doesn't, and all that. But it is just kind of funny to think about. You're going off to like blow up Chaldea or whatever, then Tiamat's like, "Don't forget your lunch." All right, so I kind of wonder if something like Tiamat allows Hans to play differently, and like I don't normally give him 20-30 because I really want that initial NP. Lunch is important. I mean, if no joke, if you're gonna be trying to, you know, save the planet or whatever, or save the universe, is kind of more like what's going on with Chaldea. But anyway, you're fighting some big. If you're fighting Ort. What'd you do to do? Fight Ort and be hungry? Or fight Ort and, you know, be healthy and have eaten, you know, properly and, you know... So, yeah, lunch is important. It's not good fighting on an empty stomach. By the way, that's not even a meme. That's like a real thing. Most, movies and anime aren't gonna bring that up because it's not dramatic or whatever, but it's actually a pretty known thing. You don't want your army fighting on an empty stomach. Like, very much so. It's not good. Yeah, you don't want a stomach ache either. You don't want to eat too much. Someone should have 2030. Maybe MASH. Wait, this account may not have 2030. I think it might have Cope 2030. Okay, it's got Star Bomb. I don't seem to have... Look at all these sunlights. A lot of good 5-star CEs, but not the one I am looking for. Well, no 2030 for us. Well... Trying to think what we do in that case. I guess go the opposite route. Do I have demonic? I wish this was limit broken. I might actually try it out here. Oh wait, here we go. That's Copium 2030. It's worse, but I'll take it. Hey Ark, thank you for the 7 months. I appreciate it. Oh, excuse me, I missed how the hell? I missed Mercury resubbed for 40 months, and Cobb resubbed for 21 months. Excuse me, guys. Hopefully they're still here. My apologies. 40 months, man. That's a long time. Man, I'm really tired today. I'm kind of slow. It's hard to read chat and like formulate thoughts. It's because when I posted the tier list video, it took so long to render the video and everything else, right? It took a lot of my day. I was very behind. So I went to bed very late on that day, like way later than normal. So I slept very poorly. And then last night I slept okay, but like I'm still kind of catching up, right? Like I'm still kind of behind on sleep. David can go with that. The classic. Chen Gong doesn't really need anything. We can just give him Star Bomb. When in doubt, when I have a unit joining in mid-fight, I find Star Bomb is a really good option. They don't need something else. So chat, I'm gonna have to rant for a second because I've had a lot of stupid comments on the tier list video, and I've had to delete some of them because for like my sanity. Some of them were just so stupid and toxic. Like there's some people that like drive by and they're just being ass clowns. But for some reason, okay, so if you noticed, I didn't even talk about St. George's Bond CE. Because one, you're probably not gonna have it for a long time. And I gotta tell you, it's just not that good, right? George's Bond CE is mostly good for soloing, right? And I intentionally don't use it for that because it's kind of like too good for that. But George's Bond CE is just not that good, right? Like it's one of the better ones, but it's still, the reason it's not that good is because you're not bringing a normal craft essence. There's just better normal options, right? Now, there are times George's Bond CE is good. There's certain boss fights where you're like, okay, the boss NP's on the 3rd turn. George is always going to die on the 3rd turn. And then you'll give the invulnerability, and then you'll block the NP. Great, right? But that doesn't happen as often as you think, right? It's actually very common that the invulnerability is going to proc at a weird time and not get that much value. It's still good, but it's just nothing special. So I didn't mention it because I didn't want the video to be... Chat, the video is 4 hours long. Right, I was constantly trying to find ways to like not keep talking about a unit for more than like 4 minutes, right? I was trying to keep it, as reasonable as possible. So I made the intentional decision not to talk about St. George's Bond CE because it's a mouthful, right? You can't, because if you just bring it up and don't explain yourself, then people are going to be like, oh, right? I can't be like, George's Bond CE is a nice option to have, but it's not that great, guys. There's better picks out there. If I just say that vaguely, people are going to be like, right? So I just don't bring it up. I'm like, nope. Just not going to talk about it because I'd have to talk about it for like at least a minute or 2 minutes to really explain why it's not as good as people think. And although it's not a bad option to have, it's not worth worrying about, right? You can just use other things, no big deal, right? There's just no point in talking about it. It's not worth it. Now that's George's Bond CE, which I would say is the best Bond CE out of all the 1 to 3 stars. Obviously it's not as good as Hercules' Bond CE. Because like that one I would obviously mention, right? Like of course, that one is so good. I would obviously mention that. So I not only have I gotten comments about Zhang Zhu's Bond CE, which is trash by the way, but I'll get into that. Not only did I get comments about that, I got comments about like why am I not talking about everyone's Bond CE? I could not even believe I've had people say that I should be talking about everyone's Bond CE. Like, what do you want? The video to be 7 hours? Right? Like, we're gonna add on, like, a 2-minute discussion about why everyone's Bond CE is bad every time. Like, I don't need to talk about why Lu Bu giving the team Buster up on his Bond CE is bad, right? He's a damage dealer. He needs a selfish craft essence, right? Like, I'm not... And he gives no attack stat. I don't need to talk about this, right? So even George's Bond CE, I deemed... As not necessary to talk about, and I think correctly so. It's not bad if I talked about it, but it's not necessary, right? It really isn't. What's up with Hercules' right leg? Yeah, it kind of like spazzes out. I think it's just kind of an issue with his, you know, sprite, like the looping animation on the sprite, and because he's not a player character, they're not paying attention to it, and they don't really care. But yeah, he's got a twitch there. But anyway, so George's Bond CE, not worthy of talking about, really. I mean, I could, but it's just not that important. And then people are like, you forgot to mention Zhang Zhu's Bond CE. Like, no, buddy, I didn't forget. Now, I could have forgot. It is possible. You know, it's with that many servants, it is easy to forget about something. But the guy's just assuming that I like don't know about his Bond CE. I'm like, we've literally talked about the Bond CE on the stream before. It's just, I can't believe people think it's good. And this is something I've seen in FGO, Arknights, all these games. People will see some kind of vague synergy and just assume that that means it's worth doing, right? People think bringing Kiyohime to buff the boss is worth it with Paris, so Paris can always remove a buff to get his weakened thing. Like, what? Like, that's not enough of a boon. Like, are you kidding me? Right, like, you now have Kiyohime, because if you're using Paris, presumably you're fighting like in a single target situation, right? And you're probably fighting a Saber. Now you have an AoE Berserker with no team support other than this weird niche, right? Like in a single target. Like, what the fuck? What? That's terrible, right? And here's the thing. People have this like idea, right? That like 100 Face missing her art up is just the worst thing. And therefore, if someone can give 100 Face her art up reliably, oh my god, it's so strong. No, she gets the art up 80% of the time, right? So that means 80% of the time, like, you're like, I can't even believe this. So for those who don't know, Zhang Zhu's Bond CE is a team-wide buff success chance up, right? But obviously it has no starting NP, no stats, blah, blah, blah. You know, typical problems with Bond CEs. He has to be alive for the... That's very important, by the way, that he has to be alive for this effect to kick in. So 80% of the time that he is there, and you're using him with 100 Face, for example, 80% of the time, she would have landed the art up anyway. That is so bad. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that is so fucking bad. And then even if in that 20% of the time that she wouldn't have landed the art up, and now she is landing the art up, it's only a 20% art up. Right? Like, wow, who can't, like, yeah, it's nice to have it, but like, what you, I can't believe people don't do this math. And what you just gained in getting that art up 20% of the time that you would have missed, why didn't you just bring, chat, why didn't you just bring another art support that gives you a bigger art up? Like, what the fuck?
You could have just brought Hohenheim and just given 100-Face an art up from Hohenheim, right? Like, and then also a 50% NP gain battery, and, you know, the guts, blah, blah, blah. And then Hohenheim's not the best example because he's not that great either. But, you know, it could be Hans, it could be Mash, it could be David. There's so many things you could just bring that are giving the team more value than 100-Face's 20% art up. It's not a big deal if you miss a 20% art up. Like, Jesus. And the same for Hans, right? Hans is like the example everyone goes to. Everyone is, for some reason, thinks, oh, if we have Zhongzhu with his Bond CE and you combo with Hans, all of a sudden Hans is so much better. No, he's not. Right? Most of what makes Hans good is his stars per turn, his crit up, his battery, his targeted battery, and his heal. Right? That's the reason you bring him. And also, he is going to land some of his NP buffs, right? It's the same thing. 80% of the time, he lands them. So you're only getting the buffs 20% of the time more. So that means 80% of the time, the Bond CE is whiffing. Why would you bring a Craft Essence on a unit that whiffs 80% of the time? And that's what it does. And people like don't see that. I've talked about this with like Phantom's third skill. Right? If Phantom does his third skill to give himself the charm success up, and then the charm would have worked anyway, Phantom's third skill didn't do anything, right? That's so bad. So you're literally giving Zhongzhu a CE that doesn't do anything 80% of the time. Like, what? Right, like, obviously that's bad. I can't even imagine thinking I need to mention this. Right? I would only mention it if, like, you had to bring his Bond CE. And then the only thing I would have mentioned in the video is, it sucks. Right? That's the only thing I would have done. Right? It's like, people think Ku's Bond CE is good. Right? Because, like, hey, more crit rates sometimes. Never mind all the... And I had a guy say that opportunity cost doesn't matter. I'm like, yes, it does. Like, of course it does. How does opportunity cost not matter on a tier list? Because if you bring his Bond CE, that means you're not bringing a Star Bomb CE. It means you're not bringing starting NP CE, so he can't turn one NP and get his, like, support from his NP immediately. Right? Or the damage. Right? It means if you're... And then the big one is... This is the big one. This isn't a team. You don't want it... Let's say you're fighting... let's say we're fighting... this fight right now. This fight right now, okay? Can you imagine if I removed Mash right now and I put in Zhongzhu, right? Now, maybe we win because Hans is good anyway and Tiamat is good anyway. But now, like, imagine this. We do, on this team right here against Megalos and Columbus here, we've got Zhongzhu, Bond CE, right? So, probably going to die and not get his NP even with his battery, right? Because we're fighting a Rider and a Berserker, right? So he's not going to live very long. May not ever get his NP effect. And we got Tiamat and Hans here. And now the only thing that Zhongzhu is really doing is, you know, he's got the art and quick up. And now Hans is always going to land his buffs, which he might have done anyway. But, like, chat, do the math. So now Hans can always land his defense buff. But I could have just brought Mash and had a guaranteed defense buff anyway. That also has a damage cut. Right? This is why opportunity cost matters. Because what you're gaining from that stupid Bond CE, you are just losing way more. Like, you're sacrificing Mash's targeted invulnerability, taunt, NP gain up, team-wide defense up, team-wide damage cut, and then her NP, which is way better than Zhongzhu's, with the universal attack up, the other defense up. That, like, what? Right? So you can, like, so you can guarantee Hans's buffs that he might have landed anyway, right? That is crazy. And it's even worse when you use 100-Face, right? Because 100-Face wants to kill Riders. Riders are counterclassing Zhongzhu. So he's likely to die really early, and then now you lose the buff success chance. Was like, I can't believe this shit, dude. It's like people, they like want to like decry someone like at a unit or an opinion, or like say this is better or worse or whatever, and they don't actually do it. They don't, because like I've used Zhongzhu this way. Not with his Bond CE because it's trash and I don't need to test it because I know how the fucking game, I can do math, thank you. But like I've done it. I've done Zhongzhu DPS, you know, other budget supports. So it could be Hans, David, you know, that kind of typical setup. So I've done Zhangzhu DPS Hans. I've done that. And then I've done Mash DPS Hans and David DPS Hans. And I've done this, and I've done fights that are like hard enough that you're pushed to the limit, and so you don't win easy, and you can see how fast you won, or if you died, or you know, like how much value you had left over by the end of the fight and all that, and you can kind of get the total team value that way. And does anyone here think, does anyone in their right mind think that Zhangzhu does better, right? Like if you do Zhangzhu DPS Hans, that's better than David, you know, DPS? Like, of course it's not. And like, just because Hans has, you know, 20% better chance to land his buffs, that doesn't change that. Like, not even close. It normally doesn't even work. That's the thing. He's like, Zhangzhu is such a bad unit for the most part that like it normally doesn't work. It only works if you need an AoE caster, and you do sometimes, right? There are some AoE fights where like it's decent value, like Lee's students and things like that, right? There's times where it's all right, but like you need to already want him on the team anyway. You need something about the stage to call for his style of unit anyway, and then his support is like worth a damn on top of that. But yeah, I cannot believe people think Zhangzhu's Bonsi is good. And like people will mention, and I've mentioned that Ozzy's buff success chance is really good, and it is. But you know why it's really good? It's because he's not sacrificing for it. You're not having to take a giant dump on your team value to get buff success chance, right? For example, let's say Sanson had buff success chance for the team on his third skill. Sucks. That fucking sucks ass. Like, because Sanson is such a bad unit, that is not, you are not going to bring him for that. And that's also why Ben K is not very good, by the way, is because the few utility things Ben K does are not worth the sink of having to bring Ben K, right? Because it is an opportunity cost. Bringing Ben K is bad because he doesn't do much. The thing about Ozzy is Ozzy does a lot. He's giving the team attack up. He's giving the team battery. He does crazy damage on his own, right? And he gives them buff success chance. That's why it's good. It's kind of like if 100 Face, like if 100 Face had a really bad NP, right, and she didn't have the evade, right, then she would suck, and like her third skill would suck. Because I've gotten a bunch of YouTube comments. I had these are some of the ones I deleted because some of them were just being just super like assholey. But a lot of people are like 100 Face's third skill is bad. And this is actually a very common sentiment I've seen like on Reddit and stuff. It's very common that people think 100 Face's third skill is really, really bad. And they're like, there's other heals out there, like decently sized heals out there that don't remove your buffs, which is true, right? There are other heals that if you compare them 1-to-1 are just strictly better than 100 Face's heal. That is completely accurate. That doesn't make it bad though, because it's about the context. It's about like what does the unit have in its totality, right? So for example, if you swapped out Sanson's heal for 100 Face's heal, right? Like so Sanson now has 100 Face's heal, that is so bad. Sanson is already a bad unit, and that would be so shit. Right? The reason it's good on 100 Face though is because context matters. She's got an evade, right, on a very low cooldown, right, which buys time for the heal, which is also on a relatively short cooldown. And when you use the heal, it buys you time to get the evade. When you use the evade, it buys you time to get the heal, and it just keeps going. Like 100 Face can oftentimes just live forever, right? Like I'm pretty sure against the Bat boss in Lost Belt 7, I'm pretty sure she lived the entire boss fight, where all the other units are fucking dying and cycling and stuff, right? And she can do that because of the heal. So although in like a 1-to-1 comparison it's not very good, it's about the context of what the unit is actually fucking doing. But people are just so bad about that. People are so like just ooga booga, and they can't think broadly like that. Yeah, people hate deterrents, which I think is stupid, because I think deterrents are actually really fun, and they can add a lot of like uniqueness to gameplay, and you know, playing around deterrents can be really fun and interesting. And then also, here's the big thing about deterrents: if you have deterrents, you can theoretically have better bonuses. By the way, that's why 100 Face is so good. It is. The reason 100 Face is so good is because they gave her bigger bonuses than they normally do. Her evade is a 5-turn cooldown instead of a 6-turn cooldown, right? Like and like her NP effect and all this nonsense, that stuff is so good because of her deterrence. If they made 100 Face back then, and they weren't going to give her the buff removal on her heal, and they weren't going to do the RNG on her damage up and all that stuff, and they weren't going to give her that giant crit down, her Vade would be 6 turns. It wouldn't be 5 turns, right? Her heal would probably heal for less and things like that, right? Like, absolutely. They gave her that bullshit value because of the deterrence. And that's why I don't like them, like, always getting rid of deterrence when they buff units. It's so boring. What I like them to do... Now, there's a few deterrents out there that I do think it's probably better to get rid of, and they didn't really work very well. I think Fergus is an example of that. Fergus's deterrent on his second skill, you know, yeah, you could play around it. It wasn't a big deal, but the way you played around it wasn't even interesting, and it also wasn't, like, guaranteed you wouldn't land the offensive buffs. It was just super... It was 50-50. It was a coin flip. Coin flips are not good. So, yeah, that's a deterrent I didn't really mind them getting rid of. So here's the thing about Saber Gilius is I think the defense down in his NP is totally fine, right? I think that deterrent is totally justified, and because you can play around it, you can give him command codes to deal with it, or bring a unit with debuff immunity or debuff clear and all these kinds of things, right? And that's fine. The thing is, his reward isn't good enough for the trade-off. That's the problem right now. And the main issue is his NP doesn't last long enough. Because here's the thing, what I want to see is like a unit like Saber Gilius, or Gilles de Reyes, or however you say it. I want to see it where the value he gives you is so high that it's worth having to play around and like protect him, like using a taunt or a debuff clear. Because if you want to work in like reliable debuff clear or debuff immunity for his NP, and you need it because he might blow up if you don't, he needs to be so good that you can weather fucking up the team that way. Because that's the thing that people aren't getting with Zhangzhu, is he's not worth it. He's not... Putting him on the team randomly like that fucks it up. And he's not giving you something so good that it's worth fucking it up that way, right? And that's kind of an issue with Lu Bu versus Mori, is Mori is very justifiable in warping the team to accommodate Mori. Now, it's not always. It actually is not always worth it. And when you find a situation where it's like, it's so not worth it to use taunts, or a lot of like units like Fuma and Mash to keep protecting Mori, or it doesn't work very well because the boss is AoE or something, you don't bring Mori. You just don't make that kind of setup. It just doesn't work anymore, right? But a lot of the time it is worth it to protect Mori. But that's why it's like really difficult to use Lu Bu these days, is you still need to protect him in that kind of way, generally speaking. There's a few exceptions. Maybe if you could turn one NP, like show up an NP, and that's enough. But a lot of times, if you're trying to like do the whole fight with Lu Bu, he's not good enough to warrant having to bring that kind of team. The team gets too slow, it gets dragged down too much, and Lu Bu's not doing enough on his own for that to be okay. Where a lot of times Mori is doing enough on his own for it to be okay. And so like opportunity cost is actually really, really, really important in a team building game, because if you're trying to bring something and it just wrecks the team so much, it's not worth it anymore, right? Clearly. Like, what Zhangzhu just needs better, like, it's not like he's bad, and that's why he's not crazy low rated. It's just that there is no reason to bring him. Because, like, he's got the crit buff. That's the best thing about him, is the crit buff, right? But the thing is, you've got a crit buff from Matahari. So Zhangzhu is giving you 100% crit damage, right? Matahari is giving you 50% crit damage. However, hers lasts 3 turns, so we already have something potentially in her favor there. But, you know, maybe you're only going to crit on that 1 turn. But then she's also giving you a 40% defense down. That's 90% damage on your crit. And they're all 3 turns. So Zhangzhu gives you 100% crit damage for 1 turn. Matahari gives you 90% crit damage, essentially, for 3 turns. And then she's also buffing your non-crit damage. Right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Right? And then, like, the other things Zhangzhu does are fairly meaningless most of the time. Right? Now, again, he's not... That's why I didn't rate him super low. It's not like he can't do anything. He is giving you the debuff clear, and he is giving you a crit buff. It may not be as good as some of the other ones, but it's still something. Right? And he can NP decently easily, and he can give you a little bit extra damage off of that, right? I say can, because obviously there's RNG in it. But, and that's the thing. People are like, oh, bring his Bond CE, then there's no RNG in it, but then it takes you longer to get his NP, and now his NP doesn't hit as hard. Right? Like, this just... You're losing more than you're gaining. And yeah, it's party-wide too, where Zhangzhu's only buffing the 1. Although that's not as good as it sounds, because it's not very common that you have 2 DPS out at the same time. It is pretty common on budget teams that you bring more than 1. Okay, I need to actually do the boss fight, for God's sakes. But anyway, it is very common on budget teams that you you bring more than one DPS, but they're not on the field at the same time. So giving like Hans the crit up from Otahari or whatever, you know, who cares? Okay, so we are gonna NP right away here. You know what? I'm gonna do this too. Wow, we didn't stun either of them. That sucks. And the game crashed. Fantastic. If they buff Zhangzhu, he could pretty easily go way up. Cause like, he's not like Sanson and stuff like that, where they're just like fundamentally shit. He's got some baseline value. It's just that other units are so much better than him. And the game's getting hard. Like that's the thing. The game's getting harder, right? Like the average challenge quest is harder now than it used to be. The main story's been getting harder. Although Lost Belt 7 wasn't too bad, but like you need to be better to work, right? For it to be functional, you need to be better now. 1 second, I need to turn my fan on. It's getting kind of hot today. And I know it's this season, but like 2 days ago, it was so cold at night, your water pipes could freeze. It was that cold. And then like now it's like 80 fucking degrees outside. It's like, you gotta be kidding me with this shit. It's one thing for the temperature to fluctuate, but like that much? All right, music knows. All right, let's test Tiamat. Let's see what we get out of here. I guess I'm gonna use Hans's NP here. Actually, no, I'm not. Rainbow Chain's too good. But yeah, after I said essentially what I just said, then everyone was like, you know, you should still talk about bond CEs because what if people want to use them? And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like that, because like even if it's one thing to talk about, like if you want to use Zhangzhu, you know, here's some things you can do to make them better and like work with them. That's fine, and you know I do try to do that. But you shouldn't use his bond CE. Even if you're a Zhangzhu main, you should not be using his bond CE because like you're so much better off with the default craft essences. Wow, that fucked us up. Yeah, I mean, 3D models in FGO always look bad. They're just not... They've never done good with that kind of thing. Kind of sad she didn't break those bars there. I guess we could have made MASH, though, a damage support there, and maybe... Yeah, I should have done the damage up, too. I fucked up. Overestimated it a bit. So they've said they're going to do something with Bond 10. They said that in an interview a while ago. Like they were talking about Bond CEs and how they're not really that good, and Nasu more or less said like in the future you're going to want them, right? Kind of like implying there's going to be something about them. Worse CGI than the anime? About the same. Yeah, it could be next anniversary, but they're struggling to make like, dude. Oh my god, they said that they came up with the coin system and they wanted to implement it at the start of the Lost Belts. But like their workflow is so bad, they didn't get around to it. And you know, until like 2 years later. I can't even believe that, dude. I mean, they said that they've had workflow problems, and I guessed that before they even admitted it. Like this company is not run well, like at all. I mean, it's insane how little they actually pump out, like how much they like struggle to do what little they do. Also, damn it, this evade. I think I gotta restart. I messed up really bad on turn 1. This is like really fucked up her value. Like, I gotta do that attack up at the very start. But yeah, they were supposed to do the coin system at the very like Lost Belt 1. And I think they did it by... They were in the middle of Lost Belt 6 when they put it out. I actually really like the extra attack of Tiamat's second stage. It actually looks way cooler in my opinion. Now, I don't really like Tiamat being like a teenager. That's kind of silly. But yeah, her extra attack looks really good. Okay, this hand is way worse than the prior one, but it is what it is. Hey, we actually landed the stuns this time, though. Lets me save Mash's skill. I'm gonna Hans NP just because I can battery next turn and then do her battery, so I won't get a lot of value here because we're not hurt. We don't need the heal. We haven't taken damage yet. But yeah, I'll get another one really quick. So I really want to break Columbus's bar because then they do Pierce Invulnerability, and when you want Mash there, you don't want the Pierce Invulnerability to hit when you've already used up your defense ups and stuff. But like if you've got all of Mash's abilities ready to go, you can face tank the Pierce Invulnerability no problem. Damn it. Damn it! I mean, I'll get it right here. It's not too bad. Chat, watch this NP gain on Mash. I should have done Hans's skill because she doesn't need to do all that, I don't think. Well, yeah, I could have done the one crit. That would have been a really good turn to stun. Wow, they didn't attack. They know. Weird that I'm killing Columbus first, but I mean, we got an alter ego, so I guess it does make some sense. Oh yeah, you normally kill Megalos first, I find. Yeah, nice taunt, they didn't attack. And Mash had, you know, she's neutral even against a Berserker, so very tanky. What's really crazy is when Mash art crits a caster and maybe like overgauges or overkills. Completely ridiculous. It's crazy Columbus is dead. You know, very, very simple supports we're using. Not much damage up, so I'm pretty good. Megalos is gonna be a bitch now, though. Oh, thanks. That is the unit I would want the taunt on. I don't need Hans's NP just yet. Although I can Rainbow Chain with it. By the way, if we had Zhongzhu on the team instead of Mash, and we had his Bonsi, those buffs would have been guaranteed, but they landed anyway! And if he was on the team, someone would be dead right now. Absolutely. Like, we are getting so much survivability out of Mash. Like, Megalos in that prior turn would have absolutely killed somebody. Like, the reason we're taking, like, absolutely no damage here is because of Mash. I will say though, Tiamat is having, like, Tiamat could win even with Zhongzhu, but that's not because Zhongzhu's doing so much. It's just because, you know, Tiamat, pretty good. I will say this is actually impressing me right now because no one's dying and her third skill is enabling a lot of that. Like, it's not like her third skill, you're not like clicking the third skill and oh man, no one dies, but it's synergizing so well with Hans and whatnot. Like, this is noticeable. I've done this fight enough that this is noticeable, like how easy it is to live. And like, it's normally I could have like been in comparable HP at this point, but I would normally have to have used some of these abilities that I'm not using right now. Like, I'd already used this heal and like maybe mashes and vulnerability and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we barely can't NP. Also, he evaded again. That's annoying. I wish Mash had her thing here. Or if I had saved the stun for right here, and then I could do that next turn, that'd be really good. Hans is probably outlived his usefulness, though, for the most part. Although, you know what? Cycling Mash there wouldn't have been terrible. Because, like, if the fight's harder, right? Like, if he still had a bunch of break bars left or there was another boss, you wouldn't want to cycle anybody right now. You want to go as long as possible. But when the fight's easier or you're just going to win faster, then it's more okay to cycle units. Well, here's some damage. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Tiamat's third skill just gives you a lot of options. Because, like, if she didn't have her NP right now, I could just click it, give her her NP. Right, if Mash was at 90, I could have done it. I'm gonna save it, though, because I don't need the heal. But yeah, no, Tiamat's performing really well here. And I can just, I can take this data and, like, extrapolate it to if it was harder. I know what would happen if I needed even more value. I needed to keep going and stuff. And yeah, this is very impressive. You know, I probably didn't need to do that. It's nice to do the buff removal and the defense down, but I could have just waited because we had stun, so I could charm next turn. Actually, Thinno with Tiamat I think could be pretty good because she's an assassin, which works out well with an alter ego. What are those weird noises you're making? God damn it, Tiamat. What would Abzu think? Anyway, yeah, you might be fighting a Rider, right? Alter ego works against Rider, and then assassin works against Rider, and then the divinity thing, and then you got stun and charm. It's quite a bit of stuff going on there. Chat, I have so much value. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I can make Mash NP right now and take, like, this is really strong. I can only imagine how busted this is if you have Merlin. Like, I think her synergy with Merlin is through the fucking roof. Because she's Buster anyway. Like, that is nuts. Like, if Hans was Merlin, no one is dying. Like, you could fight a boss, you know, with more health bars than this and a bit more damage than this, and you'd still be able to just be completely stable. Like, Mash, Tiamat, Merlin. And here's the thing. If you roll Tiamat right now, this is why it's relevant. If you roll Tiamat right now, you can always summon your friend's Merlin, right, and use your Mash. I think that is such a broken team, and that's very accessible, right? Because you can just summon the friend's Merlin. And yeah, I think that is so broken. Because most people are going to show it off in YouTube videos. They're going to show off, like, Veach or Oberim Tiamat and Merlin. Or Merlin and Tiamat. Or, you know, just even Castoria Tiamat and Merlin. They're going to show that. And most people can't do that. But my point is, you don't actually need that. You don't need to be that busted. You can just do Mash, Tiamat, and then the really strong friend support. So that's really big. I think she can actually... and she'll work against every cavalry class in the game. I think beasts and a lot of neutral stuff. So that kind of team, I think, is going to have a lot of carry potential. And now that I see it in this like more practical setting, I can really see the potential value there. I mean, look at this. I can just do this, and then I can do this, and then I can mash NP. This is absolutely silly. Yeah, this is busted. This is busted. Once I level up my Tiamat skills, I'll have to show that off sometime, like using Mash Merlin. Wow. Look how many attack ups we have now. Like that was nuts. Good thing we did all that mash stuff though. He just crit us with double. Look at that. He had double crit damage up and he crit. So we just took so much damage, but because of all that mash enabling we're doing, it wasn't too bad. Just for the lulz. This is broken as hell. If he did, and also he evaded so much, which slowed me down more than normal. All right, well he's dead here because I have attack up, NP up, and then I get Mash's attack up again. That was disgusting. That was really disgusting. Okay, I'd have to rate her pretty highly. It's because my mic doesn't have all the reverb on it. Like, it's not picking up as much reverb. This sounds way closer to my real voice than the other mic does. I mean, technically, the other mic is picking up my real voice just fine, but it's also picking up a bunch of, like, echo reverb from the height, like, the big ceilings in my room, where this one's not picking a lot of that up. Okay, so I think we can all agree. Tiamat, pretty good. Trying to think if there's anywhere else we'd want to use her. We could fight Kama or something. I actually sound pretty young for my age. And this runs in my family. I look young for my age too. Dude, when I was like... I guess I was like 29, maybe even 30. I was working at that parking place back in the day, and this guy, like, has gone to the bank or whatever. He thought I was like in like school, and I was like, brah, I am way past that age. But yeah, that runs in our family, that we just look young. I don't know why. It's just something about face shape or whatever. Vampire. Well, I am Asian, part Asian. I get my father's side. But like my mother, who is not the Asian side of the family, she always also looks young, like way younger than she actually is. So I guess you combine the Asian side of the family with that, and that's why it happens. But yeah, I look way younger than I am. Although I'm starting to lose my hair, so you know, getting older as a guy, it's the way of it. Like my hair is thinning, right? So that makes it a bit more. The thing is, I've always kept my whole life. I've always kept my hair super short, so you don't really notice anyway. But if I let my hair grow out, then you can kind of tell that I'm getting older because of that. But I've always cut my hair super short, so it's really difficult to tell. Becoming baldy, yep. Tis the way of it. Anyway, let's see. We could fight like Kiara, but I mean, Kiara is so easy. She's basically Richard, but in some ways easier because like she just doesn't do any damage, and it's so easy to like just get your NP against her and stuff. But she is neutral, so that's kind of a fun thing to test. I don't. So here's the thing: if you really don't want to go bald, you can prevent it. The technology is there now. It's just kind of expensive. But if you look up like the A lot of the key is you have to start taking like the anti-baldness stuff before you go bald. That's the thing. If you preemptively do it, you can keep your hair. You absolutely can. It's just expensive. That's just it costs money. And like I don't care enough because I've never cared too much about that kind of stuff. And because I keep my hair so short anyway, it's like, what's the difference? So I'm like, why spend the money? So it's not a big deal. I'm not one of those guys that's like really vain about my hair. So I don't care. But if I was, then I would just use all the products out there now that can actually prevent it. Yeah, some people are bald by choice. I've got an uncle that has always been like that. Even when he was young, he just always shaved his head. All right. Trying to think if there's anything else worth like that stage really showed the value of Tiamat pretty clearly, I would say. I mean, we do have Abigail. And that's like the best situation ever for Tiamat. I just have to, the Hercules account I don't actually have on this emulator, so I have to boot up the other one. I'll do it. No, I'll do it. Well, that's kind of a fun thing to see. Lost, do you have my Hercules account added? Because I do have Tiamat, but my skill ranks are not there right now. Trying to remember, I think this one's the Herc account. Got a lot of accounts. I've actually got some that I've never streamed that I use just for testing stuff. This song is so bizarre in comparison to everything else on the playlist, but I love it. The Amiya fight is really bad because he's an archer, so she's shit there. The Zeus fight in Kane is... I was worried I was going to say it. We're good, though. Anyway, the Zeus fight in Canis' interlude is a joke. It's so easy. It's crazy to me how many people, like, think that's, like, the actual Zeus fight. It is so much easier. Okay, and we're back on blue here, which is a way worse emulator, but... Also, I, like, can't cut off the screen the way I want to here. Well, whatever. It's only one boss fight. We'll just deal with it. Man, I haven't used blue in so long, and, I don't really want to. It really does not run FGO well these days. I haven't said it in a while. All right, chat, let's find out. Is he here? We haven't done it in forever. Can I get away with it? Lost, I don't want to see no covering. Canis CE. No one else gets, no Lost covering fire. Chat, I think I got away with it. How about that, chat? Oh, it feels good. Look at that, chat. See, you can clip it, right? But it's not the same thing, right? Like, yeah, he'll do it later, but that's just because you guys are tattletales. Ridiculous. But look, chat, look at that. I got away with it. How about that? Feels good, man. All right, let's see here. 1.5. That's not the same thing. It's not him. It's copium, chat. Doesn't count. Also, Ziggy deserves the sub anyway, so I appreciate that. Man, that was tense. I didn't know I was gonna get away with it or not. that was tense, dude. All right. Let's see. Do we have Lost? We do. It has been a while since I've done this boss. I mean, I guess we could solo it to see if she can do that. Chad, do you want to see us solo? Or we might need a gut CE if we do that, because even though we're counterclassing, Abigail will still just murder us if she NPs us enough with her buff removal. We could do both. Yeah, we could do both. Lost, can we get a guts CE, and then maybe switch out the anti-dragon command code? Give us a debuff clear. Give us a debuff clear command code. Yeah, very much so. There's a lot of debuff in this fight. Yeah, definitely guts. Definitely guts. Man, every time I say CE, I'm worried. Like that's the point we're at. Dude, I got some weird party names out there. I do that in videos a lot, and most of the time people don't notice. Generally in videos, you only see the team screen for like a second, and no one's gonna bother to look up there. So I've done, you know, like Guadia for anniversary. I remember the oldest one, and I've always kept this. I've never changed this team name. I think it was for the video where I killed Guadia with Sanson or something. By the way, Sanson can actually solo Guadia. He's so easy with cavalry classes, but anyway. I named the team like S tier is for Sanson, right? Like it for any tier list video, right? You're calling it S tier because the Sanson is what you're comparing them to. But I've just kept that as my default like team name on my ult account ever since then. So that one's been seen a lot. But yeah, I got some weird ones. All right, let's see if Lost has got the goods. Now sometimes you want to bring a Rosh to help you kill the trash mobs here, but Tiamat is counterclassing them, so we'll have some faith here. Yeah, Castoria can solo almost every cavalry class in the game can solo Guadia, and actually now with the coin system, they might be able to do it if they're set up properly. But like that's why I don't make I have an account at Guadia, I think still, but I don't make Guadia videos because he's so easy to solo. He's only worth doing on night classes, but then that's such a difficulty spike that most of them can't do it. But like it's such a nothing burger that if you can solo Guadia, if you're a cavalry class or an Avenger or anything weird like that, it just does no damage to you. You get your NP constantly. And then here's the thing, because it gives you your NP, you're able to do a lot of disgusting stuff like Yang CE and get the bonus damage on your NP all the time, or Black Grail and get the bonus damage all the time. And then you got the bond bonus, and it's just, it's super easy. Actually, Jekyll and Hyde might be able to do it. You'll have to work, but he might be able to do it. I suspect he can do it if he's set up really nice. Now, this is the thing, and this is the thing people don't do, by the way, when testing. And I try to do this as often as possible. This is a little difficult to explain. Okay, let's say, and she can, but let's say 100 Face can solo Guadia at level 100, right? And let's say Jekyll and Hyde can solo Guadia at 100. And he probably can if you get lucky and set it all up. But anyway, so let's say you do that. Okay, well, what happens if now you do the boss fight and 100 Face is now level 90 and Jekyll and Hyde is level 90, right? Do they both still win now, right? Who falls off first, right? Or like if Guadia has more health, who falls off first, right? If the fight's harder and keeps getting harder, at what point does Team X keep working and Team Y fails? That's where you can see, okay, there is a difference in value. How many turns is it? What, you know, who is better, right? These things actually are pretty objective. And you could test these fights over and over again in case, you know, it's RNG. But yeah, you're going to have a point where 100 Face can still do it reliably and Hyde can't, right? And I suspect that actually happens pretty quick for Hyde. Hyde is probably struggling even at 100, I would think, where 100 Face isn't. So if you go to 90, 100 Face is probably still completely fine, and then Hyde is sweating and may not even be able to do it. And like at 80, then Hyde is just probably getting crushed at that point. right? And when you go down to 70, I'm pretty sure 100 face can still do it, but you're gonna need more RNG and stuff now. But her height is just right out. Turn the sound down a little bit. Okay. Yeah, they're only 33k. That's no big deal. Actually, the problem might be the opposite. Or like George doesn't die. Oh god, we're stage 2. Although her extra attack is really cool in stage 2. It's good to show it off on stream anyway. That's probably why Lost did it. Wow. I need to not kill this guy. I need to buy time. I'll slow-mo when we get to do her extra attack. There we go. Chat, I think I can show the song now to chat. Let me see. Gotta find the button. There you go. That's pretty cool that I can do that. Although it doesn't show the full thing. Did my best. It's kind of hard the way I'm wearing it. It's difficult to click the button. But yeah, 13 Sentinels OST. You'll find it that way. It's Googleable now. Chat, I'm so old. I'm curious. Some of my chat probably is not old enough for this. But I remember the days where Google just meant the super big number, and like people would like to talk about it when they're learning about math, like when they're younger and stuff. Like Google's like this just ginormous number. That's all it was known for. That's all you said Google for. That was it. I very vividly remember that. And like when you were a dumbass kid and you're like, no take backsies times a Google, right? You'd say stupid shit like that. No one knows it that way anymore. The thing is, that's why Google is named that. They are absolutely named after it. Because it's like, oh, the search engine is finding everything. It's limitless or whatever. It's the big, search engine and whatnot. That is 100% why they're named Google. Is they're named after the number. Like they're very much referencing that. But now if you say a Google, most people are like, what? It's like so weird now. Same for Amazon, right? Amazon used to refer to either the area on the map, the Amazon, or the like Greek mythology Amazons, right? That's why like almost always if you're referring to that, they have to say Amazoness now, which is just so silly. But like that's the only way to distinguish between not talking about the fucking website, because way more people when they hear the word Amazon, they don't think about the place on Earth or the Greek mythology. They think the website. Like 100%, that's where their brain goes. It's really dumb, but it just is what it is. Google was mostly known by just people that looked into math, really. But it was a thing. It was definitely not as much of a thing as Amazon, like you say, but it used to be a thing, absolutely. I mean, I guess it technically still is, but definitely buried. Oh, obviously you can put two brain cells together and look at the context, of course, but there's a lot of really... And there's blue being blue. But, there's a lot of people that are unbelievably stupid. Check my comment section for confirmation of that. Or just Reddit in general. Anyway. But yeah, there's really stupid people out there. And like it's got to do with like marketing, right? And buzzwords, right? That's why they'll use Amazoness now or what have you, because they know, like I guarantee you they have these kind of conversations, right? Let's say you were going to make a TV show, put it on Netflix or whatever. And it's going to be, about like Penth, and the finale will be Troy or whatever, right? They're probably not going to name the show Amazon, right? They're not going to do that, right? Because they're like, yeah, no, the people are going to get confused, and they would, right? A lot of people wouldn't, but a lot of people would, right? It's like the buzzword has changed. Yeah, I remember I had a moment several years ago. I don't want this to turn political, but so I'm surely people have watched like YouTube videos and stuff where like there's a very justified arrest happening, right? Like someone is like a Karen in a store and they're throwing things off the shelves and they're refusing to leave and stuff, right? And they won't comply with the officer, right? So it's a very justified arrest, right? And I have seen anytime, I've seen it in real life, I've seen it many times on the internet, anytime, right, you have a very like justified arrest, right, where like the officer like is like the person's resisting, right? They're struggling, they're trying to not be put in handcuffs, they're trying to run away, whatever it is, right? So there's a very justified reason to like put them on the ground, maybe use a taser, right? And it's not one of these cases of the police going too far. It's not like they're choking them, they're not shooting them, right? But they need to use force, right, to get the person in custody, and they're like they need to do that, right? Anytime this happens in a crowded area, I have never seen this not happen. If there's lots of people around, if it's in the busy sidewalk, busy store, anytime a crowd will gather around the drama, right? And they will every fucking time they will be like, you don't need to. Why are you applying force? They're always like that. And like, what is wrong with you? Right? You'll have this person blatantly resisting arrest, blatantly trying not to be put in handcuffs and not all this stuff. And trying to run away and whatnot, and then you'll always have this crowd saying, "Oh, don't be so rough with them." Why? It's like, what the fuck? Like, I've never seen that not happen, not once. Like, I've seen motherfuckers like, you know, be violent and you know, like cause danger to the area around them. You know, drive into other cars, get out of their car, run away, and then they happen to run away into like in a mall or something. And then so when the officer is, you know, making sure they can't get away and is trying to prevent them from continuing to struggle, all the people are like, you don't need to use so much force, blah 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 blah. It's just like, what is wrong with you, right? It's like you're just a fucking idiot. And it's like I've never not seen that happen, and it makes me lose faith in the bulk of humanity, because the reason that always happens is because the average fucking person's an idiot, right? Like, and I get it. I'm not saying there aren't times that police, you know, there are bad apples. Of course, there's bad police and stuff, but I'm not trying to talk about this through the lens of, you know, the political angle of it. It's just the fact that you'll have such a clear-cut situation where the police clearly need to use force, and they're still being very reasonable about it. They're not, you know, beating the person to a pulp. They're not shooting them. They're not, you know, going above and beyond at all. And then people, like, I remember once there wasn't even the police. There was like this lady that was stealing. Okay, so she was in a store and she was stealing. She had like the store's goods in her hands and she was trying to get out of the store. And the owner of the store grabbed her and was trying to prevent her from getting out of the store until the police arrived. He was not punching her, he was not hitting her, he wasn't doing anything violent, but he was absolutely not letting her get away until the police arrived to take her into custody, because she was trying to fucking steal, right? And everyone in the store was just like, stop hurting her, because, you know, she's trying to struggle and get away from him and run out of the store and everything, and he's just making sure to keep her on the ground. And everyone's constantly like, oh, what are you doing? Let her go, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you are so dumb, right? And my point with this is just the fact that happens every time. It happens every single time, right? And that just makes me lose, you know, a lot of faith in the average, you know, IQ of our society. And it's just like when you see any time, what was that YouTuber, Mr. Beast, right? He's like really big. Anytime he does anything, good or bad, it's drama. No matter what, literally no matter what. Right? Like, I have no opinion. I don't think I've ever watched a video from that guy. Ever. Never watched a video of that guy. But I remember there was that whole YouTube drama about, I think he was like funding like people's like surgeries that they couldn't afford, like the surgery to like cure their blindness. Right? That was, I didn't even see the video. I just know it happened, right? It was a big drama. And there were just so many people that were mad because they're like, you're using this for publicity. And I'm like, okay, so would you rather someone gets famous on YouTube because they do shitty things, or would you rather they get famous on YouTube because they do good things that are productive for society? Like how dumb are we right? Like, I don't understand, right? Like, how can you possibly get mad that someone gets famous through doing good things, opposed to getting famous through doing neutral or bad things? I don't understand, right? I literally don't understand. And it happens every time. Every fucking time. There's always people like that. All right, we need to kill this guy. We want to set up for solo. I could cast this preemptively right now, and it'll come back no problem. And we'll, oh wait, no, this only lasts one turn, so it still will come back no problem, but I won't benefit from that at all. Unless I overcharge to 200%, which is probably not going to happen. Wait, Lost, you didn't give us the debuff clear. Lost, what are you doing? What the fuck? I specifically was like, change the command codes to debuff clear, and then you changed the command codes, so you clearly heard it, but you didn't do the thing. Oh, you had a blind moment. The UI is shit. Okay, fair enough. Okay, let's reset, because we're gonna need that. Because we're gonna get stunned if we don't have it. I need to stop ranting about random things. So this is kind of what I've come to in my time on planet Earth, right? This is the wisdom I've gained, right? Most humans don't want to be evil, at least, right? It's not like most people want to be murderers and stuff like that. They don't. The average person that you'll meet on the sidewalk, you know, they're gonna be pretty chill, generally speaking, of course, right? Also, though, most people are stupid. That's pretty much where I'm at. Most people are not... They're not malicious intentionally, although sometimes their actions might end up being bad, but they didn't intend it, right? Most people, they believe whatever nonsense political view they believe because they want what's best for people, right? And that kind of thing. That's most people. Most people want good. Most people want good for the world. But they're stupid, right? That's how I feel. I think most people are stupid. And you can see that in FGO, right? Like, oh my god. Here's the thing with FGO, though. Most people, I think, that, you know, aren't really smart about it, which is fine. It's just a video game. But most people that, like, don't really know what they're talking about, they really couldn't tell you who's better, Hans or Jufu or what have you. And they wouldn't be, you know, they couldn't make a really good team for, like, being able to beat a hard boss with like with a minimal team. You know, what is the minimum you need? What is the most? Because that matters. Like when you're trying to beat something with like low stars, you have to bring the best units applicable, right? You don't have room to just get carried, right? The thing is, most players that can't do those things, right? Don't know the game well enough. They know it, and they shut the fuck up. And this is a known thing, by the way. This is a known thing about humans. Stupid people don't self-reflect. This is a very well-documented thing. Stupid people do not self-reflect and do not self-evaluate. So they don't know they're stupid. Like, no joke. Actually a thing. So, like, there's just these people, like an FGO, that have no idea what they're talking about and will just blurt out the stupidest shit, like the dumbest logic for why a unit is good or bad or what, and it's just, there's so many holes in their argument. And if you did any kind of practical, like actually practical, the thing is they don't know how to do practical testing. They don't know how, right? They don't know how to actually evaluate these things. And they will just blurt out and be so confident in their opinion, right? And what I've learned is there is no point in arguing with these people. Now, sometimes it can be entertaining to argue with these people just to like display how stupid they are or to convince people on the fence and that kind of thing. But when people are that dumb and like because they don't know how to evaluate the topic at hand, right? You're not going to be able to explain it to them with logic anyway, right? Like they're not gonna, if you break down the real nuts and bolts of why like X is better than Y or why there's a problem here and whatnot, they're not gonna get it anyway. So there's no fucking point in trying. You know, I can set it up where I can switch on the echo. I can switch to the other microphone very easily. So we'll see. I knew this was going to happen, though, that people would be upset. Here's the thing. The reason why I want my voice to sound better, like, I believe that my regulars probably liked the voice of God that we had before, right? But it's not good for drive-bys. And I don't mean drive-bys that are like shit. I mean drive-bys that might actually end up liking the stream, right? It's not good curbside appeal, right? So it's important to stay alive on the internet to have some degree of curbside appeal. But I can probably set it up where I can turn on the echo. See, and here's the thing. I don't care much. I've watched a lot of streamers. The only time I care about mic quality is if it's like one of those microphones that, like, if it gets a little loud, it starts like wrecking your ears, right? Then it bothers me. But like, I remember I'd seen some videos of that guy. I think he's pretty big on YouTube. Like, he's Kriperian, I think's his name. Does like Hearthstone and Diablo and stuff. And he would always, I don't know if he does now, but I remember he would always have like a pretty shitty headset mic. But it didn't matter. You could understand him, no problem. And you're just, you know, it's kind of like a robot voice with some flavor. I didn't care. Never, I never like give a shit if the voice quality, right? And I know what it's like. I remember there was this one YouTuber that had like a kind of shitty, not a super shitty, but a kind of shitty headset mic. But you know, it just, that was the voice you really like identified with them. Like when you thought of them, you thought of that voice, right? And then they eventually got a good microphone, and I was like, damn it, man, I missed that, right? I get it. I totally get it. And so if it was just my regulars all the time, I wouldn't mind using the other mic. It's just, I do think it's bad for the channel, because there are people that if they hear a bad mic when they drop into a stream, they'll just instantly leave, right? And you could say, well, why care about those people? And if I was a billionaire or a millionaire, sure, I wouldn't care about those people, but you know, I do have to pay my bills, so you know, there is that. Got to be a little bit tactical. All right, let's make stars. Like, I don't need to be a big streamer, and I don't want to be. Dude, I've really thought about this over the years. Like, when I look at like how much it annoys me with what, you know, how little internet fame I have, right? I'm, you know, in the grand scheme of things, nobody, right? I'm literally nobody. But the small amount of internet fame that I have, I hate. Like, I actually hate it. I hate the way people talk about you like you're not a real person, and how you know, all this stupid drama, you know, around like the tier list videos, and you know, I hate it. It's garbage. It's stupid. It's annoying. I hate being a public figure like that, even though I'm barely a public figure. Now, I like my stream regulars. I actually love it to death. It's actually the reason I keep doing it. You know, I've actually super loved, like, over the years, just having these people I know, you know, on my stream, and you know, these share what they like and what we talk about, you know, new games and new servants and what. I love that. I love that to death, right? I'm actually like, I like that so much. That's the reason I don't give it up, right? It's like, I love that stuff. But yeah, all this stuff that comes along with like being an internet figure, I absolutely detest it, right? And as you get bigger, it's worse. It gets worse and worse and worse. I can't even imagine, like, just posting a tier list video causes so much fucking drama and having to listen to all these idiot takes and stuff, and it drives me up a wall. I can't imagine if I was like someone that would post a video and get 500,000 views or 1 million views, or if I had 1,000 people in my chat right now. Oh my god. Because, dude, the streamer I like, you know, Ouroboros is like my favorite streamer, right? I watch him all the time. His streams normally have between 300 viewers and 1,000, depending on what he's playing, right? Like, if it's like the game that most of his viewers like or not, right? And when he's got like 1,000 viewers, oh my god. I mean, it's insane. You have so many snide comments, sarcastic comments, drive-by bullshit. Also, the chat's moving so fast, you can't read anything. And that's just 1,000 people, man. And you got streamers out there with 10,000, 50,000. Like, holy, I mean, it looks miserable, right? It looks so fucking miserable. Like, I do not want any of that. All right, do I throw the heal away for the damage? I don't use the first skill. We use the second skill. I might want to debuff clear here because our debuff clear is only going to get rid of the defense down. Yeah, I think I need to do that. Well, I could wait until the stun actually happens. All right, do I want to whiff? No, I'll hold it. I'll hold it. I think if there's... This is... Okay. We really... This is complicated. I think Tiamat might actually want heal boost on Art. It's really yeah, I think she wants heal boost on Art and she wants heal on Buster. Absolutely. You definitely don't... The reason is your first NP is the one you're most likely to want to do Art because your first NP is the one that you're going to do the battery right after. So I think I am going to do Art and we're just going to have to whiff the heal boost, but that's not too bad. Yeah. It sucks because we have Buster up, but I think this is for the best. I don't know though. Buster with the Buster up. Oh, right. I completely forgot that she did that. She can remove debuffs. Excuse me. I mean, we still need the debuff clear though because we're not going to have so much uptime on our NP, but that Buster up would do a lot in a Buster chain here. Like, we might actually have killed here if I did Buster. I don't know if that was worth it or not. Oh yeah, I need to show off the extra attack in slow-mo. Well, how about that? It was just enough. Okay, now I don't... Wait, she can start damaging the next health bar. Fuck it, I'm doing Buster. Did she say kitchen? I hope that was just Japanese that kind of vaguely sounded like that. I swear to God. They do go pretty ham on the cooking thing in her stage 1 and 2. It's like summoning utensils. Pretty out there. Alright, that's 1 life down. And then let's see how much we do here. Right, she comes back with full HP. Yeah, this extra attack looks awesome. It's kind of annoying. I like her second stage more, and that her horns aren't so insanely huge, and that extra attack is really cool. But you know, then she's more like a teenager, which is weird, and then her attacks, or normal attacks, are mostly really silly, with like summoning the spatula and all that. I forget which animation it is, but she's got the one where all the like utensils come out of the ground. She's got the ladle, that's the one most people think of, but there's the other one that's got like the spatula and fork. She definitely said kitchen. Oh no. Yeah, I think it's like... She has 2 quick animations, so I don't remember which one it is. This is a good time to do a rainbow chain though, so we can show, or maybe show it. Do I need to debuff clear? Actually, no. Lucky. Let her cook, yeah. That's the ladle, that's not the one. There it is. Yeah, you got a spatula and nonsense in there. I think she just fired an SQ out of her extra attack there. I think that's a rare chance to happen. But it's kind of cool. Her voice is like cracking reality there, and it's like chaos coming out or something, like chaos magic. Like primordial stuff. Do I? Yeah. I mean, the uptime is so great, you might as well use it all the time. I could cast it again right now and get NP up again. I don't need to, but I'm gonna. I mean, like, why not? Yeah, she's pretty good. Her big flaw is just a lack of hard survivability. That's the only problem. I just wish they actually drew this sprite instead of using CGI. It'd be so much cooler. Alright, we'll check out King Hassan next. I probably should have done that a while ago. I think this is her last life, yeah. So if she NP'd right now, we'd be in trouble because we'd go down to like minimum HP. But I think we got enough time that that's not going to be an issue. And here's the thing. Once you go down to minimum HP, you can invulnerability. You can't invulnerability the actual NP. And if we're going to lose this HP to the NP anyway, there's no point in invulnerability to protect this HP. But once we're down to minimum HP from the NP, then you want to invulnerability. And we'll definitely win. We might even win before that because of the stun. I'll actually be kind of disappointed if we win before we get NP'd. We're barely taking damage though. This emulator struggles so much. We'll switch back for King Hassan. Yeah, she's dead here. I don't even have to push it on value. Look at this nonsense. We didn't land the stun, but it doesn't matter. We got double buster up, NP up, attack up, buster chain. She's dead. Yep, she is pretty good. Alright, let's go. Let's finish King Hassan's buff quest. But then we might use chats, because my King Hassan is only NP 1, so he's nothing special. The main account. Although, when we go to use King Hassan, we're probably going to want to fight Lobo first. Now, that's what we could do as well. We could have soloed Lobo with Tiamat. That'll push her. That'll probably fuck her up. I'm not sure she'll be able to do that. But that's a good way to see kind of what she's working with. We'll do that after King Hassan. Yeah, that's going to be spicy. I mean, she is level 100. Lost, how much SQ do you have on your Guadia account? Kind of wondering if you could have like Tiamat on that account. Oh, only 1,200, damn. Yeah, you probably can't grab Tiamat then, but that'd be kind of cool if you had Tiamat and Guadia. And I like the 1, 2, 3. Thank you for the 57 months. That is such a long time. I am unworthy of that loyalty, but I appreciate it. Like 1,200 is a lot, and 100 tickets is a lot, but most of that's going to go into Guadia, so if you tried to do both, you'd probably have a problem. Alright. King Hassan time. I haven't even seen what his buff is. I am pretty sure it's battery, though. I know this fucking game. And I think I saw people like vaguely saying something like that on Discord. I wasn't really paying attention, though. Well, there is a King Hassan, but he's not done the upgrade. I wish they would just upgrade his NP, though, for God's sakes. Okay, we'll do that instead. Alright, let me look up his buff. Let's see the goods. Alright, his death resist down is now 200%. That doesn't really matter though. Well, I don't know. I guess there are some bosses with bullshit high death resist, but the way death resist is calculated, that's not gonna matter too much. The Buster Up is now 3 turns instead of 1 turn. That is huge. That is so big for him. And then he gets a battery for 30%. So, that's really good. Normally, you're probably going to do that into the first NP and not doing it after the first NP, but it depends. If you can, like, get your first NP during the trash mobs and all that, then you'll just NP without the Buster Up, and you'll NP, maybe do a quick art, because Rainbow Chain, and you don't have the Buster Up yet, so you don't mind not doing BB. And that'll probably get you pretty far along on your NP gain, and then you do the 3rd skill, and you might even loop. And then now you've got Buster Up. So, that's very, very good. Now, I don't think that mostly helps his damage, and the main reason in soloing, we're not talking about team stuff, but for soloing, the main reason he's so far behind Kama is just because her survivability is just so ridiculous. His is great. He has great, great, great survivability, because he can Guts, come back with 5,000 HP, cast the Guts early, so it's almost off cooldown, and then do his heal with the heal boost command code, and then now have you just Gutsed, and you're basically at like 8,000, 9,000 HP, something like that. And you have defense up as well. And then you just get Guts again, and then you just do it again, and then you can Mystic Code, right? It's very, very good. But Kama's survivability is definitely better. And having some more bursts like that is nice, but I don't think that's going to make him overtake her on the solo front. But he's good enough. He's still a very, very good solo unit. So now he's even better. But Kama is probably still the champion of that stuff. Not a great hand. She's got really cool animations. Very, like fun melee stuff. We'll show it off here. Do that. Green doesn't sound like Green. Yeah, this seems to be throwing people off quite a bit. Here's the thing. When I would listen to my voice with the other microphone, I know what my actual voice sounds like, so I could kind of hear where my true voice was, but it was like buried under the reverb and all that. Where now, with this one, it's just not. Yeah, I would actually use her a lot if she was single target. I would have, like, really hyped this unit if she was single target. Because she's got pretty cool fashion with, like, the mask and stuff. Weird shoes, but, you know, what are you gonna do? But it's pretty cool on the green slash and all that. And, yeah, it'd be cool if she was single target. But her being AoE just sucks. And we don't even... It just makes her so ununique because we have so many AoE assassins at this point that, like, who cares? Yeah, I miss single target, dude. Alright, no need to cast anything. Her shoes aren't even that weird. It's more like the way she's standing doesn't make any sense. It's kind of odd. I think it's because of her other ascensions, because I think she gets like hooves or something, like a tree leg, so like her height is kind of messed up. So that's why they do that, because they don't want to have like a custom sprite for the different ascensions. Yeah, it's because her leg is like longer in the other ascension. let's see here. I can probably kill with this. And no NP. Much spinning. Oh crap, we didn't kill. I was so confident that that would work. Can you imagine if he like double crit us? Yeah, like that. Yeah, we could have died. Oh my god, we could have died. Chimeras, man. What the hell? That's fucked up. And I lose a turn of my buffs too. Super Bunyan was a really long time ago, though. Like, I don't know why people keep bringing that up. Every time people talk about the AoE spam, everyone's like, Super Bunyan. Like, bro, that was a really long time ago, and it was one unit. And, like, everything before her was AoE too. It's shit. They pretty much only do single target for 4 stars, which sucks. Like, you want 4 and 5 stars that are AoE and single target. Ridiculous. Alright, well this guy's dead. I am glad that I have her though. She does have cool gameplay. I just would be a lot happier if she was single target. I'll have to make some videos for her at some point though. Show off her animations. I should do that soon actually. Oh yeah, fuck this game though. Of course they do that. God, they always do that now, where their fucking NP is always their 3rd stage, and even if you don't like their 3rd stage, you get it anyway. Oh my god, dude. Like, that's one reason I like low stars, because they don't have cut-ins, so their NPs don't fucking do that. Like, they do that all... I mean, even Tiamat does that. Tiamat can get away with it better, but my god, like, every 5-star does that now. It's been like that for a while. It's so lazy. Remember when they used to not have cut-ins, and they only did cut-ins when it made sense? And then they started doing cut-ins all the time for 5 stars, like it became standard and they had to do them, like obviously. But then they would make the cut-in for each ascension, and now they've digressed into just only making it for 1. It's so dumb. Dude, one that I really don't like is Tamamoto, or if you say his name, the Gundam guy. I really don't like that one, because you go, like, if you're in the white ascension, you go from, like, really heavy white armor to all of a sudden really heavy black armor. It's just, I do not like that one. That's probably the one that pisses me off the most. And, like, BB, they eventually, you know, patched her to give her the other sprites. That's because she's super popular. He's never going to get that. Like, no way. Only the absolute most popular ones would get that treatment. And oh my god, man, it's so frustrating. Because at that point, I would rather you not do the cut-ins, right? If I have to pick between the Ascension being the one I actually like versus, you know, having a cut-in, I'm gonna pick the Ascension I actually like. I don't like a lot of the cut-ins anyway. Like, some of them are good, like King Hassan's is good, but a lot of them are not, so... Oh, baby. How am I have to show this, right? How could I not pick that? Two dragons, I assume. Kind of fitting we picked Kojiro then. Okay, well... It's AoE, so the taunts are bad. Of course you crit. Bastard. Kind of weird, but if I crit here, might kill. Not quite. Damn, I shouldn't have done that. Like, it's not so bad putting this buff up if I killed that turn, but because I didn't, I'm only gonna have one turn of it. That's not worth. I didn't really think that one through. Although I really did think we had a chance of killing there. Well, at least we get to make a lot of stars here. Or we could just not crit. That's great. Well, we still made 58. We might get Sita with the collab. We'll see. That'd be really cool if we did. I hate both of these. I think I hate that one the most. Technically, there are characters that do things with stars past 50, like Cuckoo. And actually, Cuckoo legit does want stars past 50. You might need to cast all 3 of her skills in one turn, and then you also want to crit on that turn. Things like that. But not a lot, though. Yeah, very, very few characters care. Well, we got buff block, but we win anyway. Maybe not. Damn it. I should have done a rainbow chain or something. I should have oh, I had buff block. Uh-oh. Woo, boy, imagine if he had double crit. Actually, double crit we would have lived. Oh, but triple crit we would not have. Ahem. Okay, now we're good. Watch all this quick down, though. Oh, he stops applying it when he's dead, which means these extra hits don't get the quick resist down to get the extra stars. That's kind of messed up. Alright, anyone in chat got a good King Hassan? Because mine is NP1. I'd like NP2. It'd be preferable. If it's higher than NP2, that's fine as well, but NP2 would be the sweet spot. Or even NP3. Yeah, it's pretty, I'd say it's PS2 CGI. Although there's a few PS1 games that have, like, you know, abnormally good graphics for the time. So it might be kind of close to that, but I mean, it's pretty bad. FGO has always had really bad CGI. Anybody in chat got a NP2 King Hassan? Anybody? I mean, we can test it out at NP1. It'll just be a little disappointing. On NA. Yeah, okay. Where's mine? I've always kept them at 666 because I normally do use other people's. I don't think this is worth it. I'm not going to use them very often. I don't think I can justify this. Yeah, normally I would use like Ares and stuff on my friends list, but yeah, this is not a good. This is not a good time to use, because if they had a new assassin, like a low star assassin, I want to be able to max them out. Like, I'm going to use King Hassan like once every few years in a video, you know, maybe. So it's not worth. Let me, well, I don't want one that's like 120 and all that. That's way too strong. It's like that's not, you're not comparing to the other units we've used at that point. We'll scan around and see what we find. I'm surprised that nobody's got a King Hassan though. He's pretty popular. Although I guess most of my viewers are NA, so. Because a lot of people did have them just on NA instead. Come on, game. It's not that hard to load. Alright, we'll do team play first, and then solo, and then we'll use Tiamat solo. That's assuming we can find a worthwhile King Hassan. You can summon randoms now. Oh, area with the bailout. That's no command codes, unfortunately, but I don't think Tiamat had command code. You know what? This team's fine. It's already Buster focused. That's totally fine. This will be interesting. You can definitely solo it. I know for a fact you can solo it. Pretty much any of the like high-end solo units, the really capable solo units, can do this fight. So there's no, as long as you like don't mess up your guts timing, you're good. All right, you know what? We're gonna in a team in a solo. I don't think I'd do this, but in a team setting, I'm just gonna use this right now and go straight into my NP. I think I'll do this as well. I don't think we're gonna get the guts to go off anytime soon, but I'll take the damage it gives us. Oh my god, if I could, this would be so much better next turn because we'd have the stars from this and the star bomb. But what if we got lucky? I don't think it's a good idea. I think I should save it. It's just critting with all of this, man. Quad Buster up. It's good shit. And you could have the crit up from Hans. Fuck it. 60-60. I mean, that's favored. I'm going to actually taunt him because I can second skill next turn. I love his voice. Oh, excuse me. I kind of forgot about the main gimmick here. Funnily enough, because he double crit, and that was actually still good. Like, that was still a good turn. It's just, it's probably better to do Buster NP Buster. But yeah, because he double fucking crit with the crit buff and everything, and then the extra attack getting the 3 of a kind bonus, that wasn't bad at all. That was not a bad turn. Like, if I had to pick between that or just like, you know, using Hans and Qin Gong's cards and stuff, like not using the NP and losing the Brave Chain, I would still do that. That was still worth it. But it's more worth it, obviously, to ping off the evade. Watch this change the RNG and we don't crit anymore, because that was really nice damage. That, though, definitely confirms that I should not have done the Star Bomb, because it's RNG anyway, and because one of the cards is whiffing, it's not worth it. I should have saved the Star Bomb for our art card. Okay, good, we got the crit. See, I was right, though. That is not that different. I was completely right. That is not that different. It's because his NP's not upgraded and we had the crit buff, so yeah, that was a very comparable turn there. Now this turn is kind of annoying. I will say, before his third skill buff, I would say King Hassan really deserves an NP buff. But where he's at now, it really doesn't. It just makes him more normal card focused, but he's actually got a toolkit now that makes him very normal card focused, and that's fine. He's so survivable. Like, at this point, I actually think it's pretty balanced him not having an upgraded NP with that third skill buff. So it's not really an issue anymore. And now if the buff is NP, then he's just kind of disgusting. Although he already is, so. I want a rainbow chain before I Hans NP. They might give him an NP upgrade. He's popular. People, I think, like to see him get buffs and stuff, so it would not surprise me. I really want to do this Hans NP, but... God, if we had broken... Look at these guaranteed crits, man. But I think we do it like that. Alrighty. Well, not much to do on this turn. Let's do that. Yeah, nice cards. At least, like, if Hans crits here, I think he can just loop. I don't know if we need him to loop, but it's a thing. I may regret my use of taunt earlier. Wow, we triple defense buff, or double defense buff and damage cut. Holy, Lobo, yeah, Lobo. Lubu, Lobo, why does this have to be a thing? Anyway, that damage output. Oh, our taunt's back. Man, if I had his second skill, I would guts King Hassan and then just taunt him. It's actually fine if Hans dies. We have Leonidas in the back, and we're far enough along. Like, if this boss had another break bar, and another break bar, then I wouldn't want Hans to die yet. But it's fine. Yeah, honestly, if this boss had a bunch of HP left, I'd probably guts Hans and taunt him. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not. That's a tough one. Yeah, we'll just cycle Hans here. Sorry, buddy. I would like the panda to get another buff. Her last buff was really nice. She's really getting there. She just needs a little bit more, just a little bit more. But yeah, she's definitely at the point now that if you like her, you can use her and have it not feel like dog shit, and that's nice. But yeah, she's not quite there. I think just as long as like the next buff for her is just solid, I think she's good to go. Damn it. If I could NP right now. Wait, I can't NP right now. Excuse me. Kinda good. He's doing pretty well. It's not like groundbreaking performance here, but it's not too like, on speed. He's not gonna impress too much. just because, you know, he's Buster. You're not going to get a premium clear with Buster unless you're using Beach and Oberon and that kind of thing. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to NP enough. But he's very safe right now. Like, he could keep going for so long. So even if this was a much harder boss, we'd still be looking really good right now. Like, I don't need Leonidas' taunt, where I might if it was a more fragile unit. But we're like so safe here, I can just ignore it for now. Yeah, on the damage raise front, he's still doing okay. This is not a bad performance, but it's nothing special. It absolutely isn't. But on the survivability front, it is. And the thing is, a lot of the units that might outperform him on the damage side aren't even going to be close on the survivability side. If the boss didn't have the evade, I would do Leonidas' NP. Unfortunate that I can't do that. Oh yeah, no CCs, that's true. But still, I've certainly seen single targets 5 stars, because he is a 5-star, it's really fair to compare that. I've definitely seen other 5 stars go faster than this. But still, this is perfectly reasonable speed, all things considered. And then the survivability is disgusting. Okay, well we win here. Even with that defense up, we should win here. Unless we get the worst hand ever. Nah, that'll do it. Alright, we'll just bail out. Not bad. And again, it's just really easy to see how much value he had left. So both him and Tiamat did better than normal. I'd say they were pretty impressive, because Tiamat also helped the team live, where King Hassan is mostly for himself. Alright, actually, just to mix it up, let's do Tiamat next and have her solo now. I'm actually really curious if she can pull that off or not. I know King Hassan can do it. He could do it before his buff. You just have to play right. Oh, we're 102. I did not realize that. That's not too big of a deal. Lost, are you here? Because if you are, can we get a defense removal? We'll not go sure hit, because I find sure hit kind of makes it kind of a bad value test at that point. Or we go no sure hit, it's still a pretty tanky boss. If well, maybe it's okay not to have the defense removal, because King Hassan might not have it either. Yeah, that's fine. All right, I'm gonna BRB real quick. I gotta grab a snack. I realized I'm super hungry. Alexander Dumas. I hope he gets added to the game within a year. And I hope he's a 3-star. And I hope he's a quick squirt. Just do it.
Alright, chat. Like a minute ago, I yelled and I said, can you hear me? Did anyone hear it? I'm wondering if the mic picked that up. Because I was quite far away. Nope, yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, it was like a minute ago. Hold on, I'm trying to fix my earbuds. All right. Yeah, the range is about the edge of my room, I suspect. I'm actually kind of excited here, because I have no idea if she can do this or not. It's not like an obvious no, but it's not an obvious yes either. Give him an animation update. Oh my god, dude. So fucked up. All right. No first skill. Please stun. Bad start. What do I do here? Probably a rainbow chain. Sucks that Merlin's on cooldown here. It is weird. Ben-K got an animation update before Leonidas. It's kind of messed up. All right, we're looping. Yet again, I kind of want a rainbow, but I want that heal boost. Wow, that's such a weird turn. Apologies that I'm not talking much. I am eating my food real quick here. It's what Tiamat would want. Her NP is kind of lagging on my potato phone. Damn. Yeah, I can see that though. All right. Done eating. My apologies. I was really hungry though.
Wait a minute. I should have done that on the next one. Because now I'm not getting the double NP up. It's not worth it to double cast like that if you're not NPing. Whoops. Boy, that was a mistake. Also, looking like we're gonna fucking die. Lobo's pretty hard to solo. And she doesn't have any damage mitigation or hard survival. At least she can get a good guts here. Also, we're gonna whiff so much value because we didn't break that bar. That's brutal. The damage cut passives, a few people have them. They're quite nice when you're working with MASH and things like that. Adds up. All right. Yep, see, this is the one I should have double tapped. We really need the stun here. All right. Yeah, if I had doubled that one, and then with that stun, I'd get another one. I could have gotten 3 heals. Hey, Saber Nero, 60 months? Jesus fucking Christ. That is something. So with command codes, I think she could do this. Be very difficult without though. And this is a level 102 Tiamat, so she's definitely above average. Not really a good time to do the crit down, when I think about it. Probably could have just waited then. I can heal next turn and maybe live one more. Yeah, I do think it's doable, but you're really pushing it. I could have done quick last to get more stars, and it would have been fine. See, why didn't you do that next turn when I don't want you to kill me? So if I didn't make that misplay, I could have 8,000 HP and some change right now. Guys, this damage cut's gonna save me. How's Tiamat? Super good in team settings. Nothing special in solo by any means, but basically hybrid DPS and support. The stronger your supports, I think the stronger Tiamat is. If you're working with top tier supports like Merlin and stuff, it's super busted. Fuck. Man, you had a triple attack there and he just barely killed us. So if I didn't make that misplay, we would have lived there. She can definitely do it with the right command codes then. Between the misplay and the command codes, it's definitely possible. But clearly struggling. It's not a easy win. Yeah, we're not gonna get any content until the 26th, I think. All right, let's find a King Hassan. You're probably not gonna find one at, yeah, it's just NP1. And 12 levels behind and no command codes. We'll see if we can find one more comparable. Oh my god. I think Lobo is Earth, isn't he? Or a man, I think. Let me see. Which would mean Izo would get his extra bonus damage. No, he's Earth. Yeah, he's Earth. Still, he is humanoid. He's got so many traits. He's animal characteristic servant, demonic beast servant, fairy tale servant, humanoid servant, weak to Enema Elish, and wild beast. So, yeah, he's very easy to niche on, if you will. It's because you get humanoid and everything because of the rider, and you get beast because of the doggo. Where are my King Hassans at? Chat, there is like I think the first big event in Limbus, that Gacha game that we tried out a while ago, Limbus Company. It's actually their second event, but their first event wasn't really anything. I think they're doing like their first like actual like flushed out event. I might stream that just to give that game another shot, just to see. Might do that as a bonus stream tonight. It can't hurt to give that game another try or two. I mean, it's got a great aesthetic and all that, so it'll be enjoyable just to see that again, but that game was pretty much a coin flipping simulator. Okay, so King Hassan is not real. Not actually in the game. I should really be checking for Tiamats when I'm doing this, just especially the people that aren't on my friends list. Okay, there we go. So this is so much weaker than the Tiamat, though. The Tiamat had command codes. They weren't super good, but like the heal was good and the heal boost was good. So she had some value. This one has no command codes at all and is 12 levels lower. And I think might be a lower NP rank as well. So massively behind. But it looks like the best one we've got. If this works, I'll actually be impressed. Because command codes see their most... how do I put... Command codes are in their most favorable situation when you're soloing or last man standing. Because you can just apply them over and over and over and over and over and over again. So it's pretty yikes trying to solo without them at this point. But King of Song's a big boy. I don't think Tiamat's power creep, but I do think she's good. But I'm happy with that. I don't like power creep. Hell yeah, good opening hand. All right, chat. What's your favorite assassin? Favorite assassin? Any rarity? Can be any reason. Gameplay, character, whatever it is. I like how look at instantly all those commas. Sanson. Oof. Not a single King Hassan, which kind of shows why we weren't finding any. Decent amount of Lees, Kojiros, some Izo, and a good bit of Kojiro. Kojiro or Sanson is my favorite assassin in terms of like character and everything. If I was gonna rate it in FGO, I'd actually probably say Kojiro just because his gameplay is a lot better and more fun than Sanson's. I don't see how Phantom can be your favorite gameplay wise. Like how? Like you don't get to do a lot. It's so bad. Like That's odd. I don't see how that works. Maybe just the struggle of making him work, but that's more of the gameplay experience and not so much his gameplay. Okay, we got someone with King Hassan as their favorite. Only one Cleopatra. A lot of Kama, though. Like, Kama was definitely the winner out of all that. I could NP right now. Nah, we'll save it. 2 Donzos. Man, what you just said, Phantom has everything. Debuff resist down, AoE arts NP, stars per turn, charm, right? So good. That basically is the logic I'll see when people are trying to say something should be higher on their tier list with that shouldn't, right? Like, they just kind of arbitrarily pick things and like, this is so good, and it's like, it really isn't. I had a guy trying to say that William Tell's like default NP damage is good. I'm like, it's not though. He has an unupgraded NP and a 30% art up. That is not good. That's quite bad. Like, when you compare that to all the other archers in the game, doesn't really pan out so good. Like, you don't suddenly become a good unit because you got a 30% art up. I mean, for God's sakes, Uriel has a 30% art up. Actually, I'm gonna be grailing Kojiro pretty soon. I just want to have I want like 5 grails in my back pocket. Just copium, but just in case the ad Green Knight. Right? I want to have at least 5 grails ready to go. So then once I get any grails over 5, I'll probably give those to Kojiro. Serenity is absolutely better than William Tell, though. Like, I mean, just look at it. It's weird that people like want me to rate William Tell around Serenity. They think he should be like several tiers up, and that is around Serenity, and that's just nonsense. She's got the art up as well. She's got the star bomb as well, but the amount of damage you actually get out of her poison is like a free NP, sometimes 2 free NPs. That is much better, and her NP's upgraded. All right, we do not want to cast this. And we don't want to cast this. I think we do this. I really wish she didn't have the fucking defense up right now. This is way less good than it would be in a normal boss fight because of the evade gimmick. You'd want to be able to NP quick into art. You combine that with the battery and you might loop if you crit. The thing is, William Tell is rated as solid. He's B+. Like, B is like baseline, decent value, does the absolute minimum of what you want their archetype to do, but they're not anything exceptional. And then B+ that's essentially what they are, but then they've got circumstances where they can perform way better than that and potentially outperform the things higher tiered than them, right? That's exactly where you should be. Like, really, if anything, I think I actually was a little too favorable to him. Like, I think he might be better off as B instead of B+. Because he basically is, like, a default archer, like, for a 3-star. And you really don't get much. The anti-evade thing, even if they have evade, they may not cast it at good times. And if you're fighting, like, this fight right here, it's still not... You can use William Tell here, and you can win, sure. But, I mean, you can win with all kinds of dogs. We literally won with Phantom as our main DPS here. Now, it was awful, but, I mean, it worked. But you're so much better. Like, if you have like Protoku and William Tell race here, Protoku is probably going to win. There might be an exception there though, because you get art supports for William Tell. You don't get that for you only get the generic supports for Protoku. But even then, I think Protoku would probably win more times than not. There's going to be RNG with deck shuffling and all that, but and this is like the best boss in the game for William Tell. And here's the thing. It's an Avenger, so it's not the pinnacle boss for William Tell. But I don't think there is a Saber boss that has like an evade gimmick like this. Because you need an evade gimmick like this for it to be reliable. Because otherwise, when the boss might cast their evade, it's not when you're NPing. Or, what's very likely, because a lot of bosses are scripted to evade when they're low on HP, you're just going to overkill the break bar. So, like, who cares, right? It really is not that practical. And I think without his niche, and it's not just his evade niche, it's his anti-debuff niche. That is a niche. Some boss, like this boss fight, there's no debuffs. And other boss fights, they have debuffs that aren't relevant. Now, anti-debuff is always a good niche to have. Like it is. It's a nice niche to have because there are, of course, even though there's loads of bosses without debuffs, there's loads of bosses with debuffs, right? But it's a backup thing. It's not one of those things you want to be the core of what makes you a good unit unless you're a support. Because then you just don't bring the support like Asclepius. You don't bring Asclepius if you don't need anti-debuff, right? So it's no problem. But for a damage dealer, it's not much of a selling point. It's just icing on the cake. But you need the goddamn cake first. And that's what that saying means, obviously. And that's like perfect for William Tell, is a lot of his niches, they're nice, but his base isn't strong enough to like warrant it. Like you need some more meat to hang on to there, right? You need like an upgraded NP. The problem is what he really needs, they're not going to give him because it'd make him almost a clone of Robin Hood. He needs an upgraded NP or something like that, or he needs hard survivability. But it's like he's too much like Robin Hood at that. And he already is too much like Robin Hood, but yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I really would give him an upgraded NP though, for God's sakes. And then I'd lean more like into the utility so he has more utility. So something's going to be good no matter what, right? Like add more effects that have to do with like just utility-based stuff, right? Just more of that. That way there's more time. It's like, hey, it makes sense to bring him because of this. Like, give him buff removal. Although that would be really at odds with the evade gimmick. That's kind of a problem. I'm just gonna say it. The evade gimmick is bad. I'm just gonna. It's not a good way to get good damage out of a unit. Like the anti-evade thing, it's just not good. I'll cast this now. That's a little risky, but maybe I should have gone with Atlas. Yeah, I think I should have gone with Atlas. I wonder if I can get my NP from being attacked. Let's find out. Yeah, I think I should have gone to Atlas, and I'm not sure I used my skills right here. He might not be able to do this, though, without command codes. I mean, Tiamat couldn't do it either, but I don't think he can. I think at 100 maybe, but at 90, I don't think this is gonna work. You really need because the command codes, and I will say, he scales with command codes more than a lot of people, and it's just because his guts heals him for so much, and then this heals him for so much. So the heal boost command code allows you to just keep going and going and going and going. A lot of units can't do that, but he can. So if he's gonna do it, he's definitely gonna need that heal boost command code. Sadly, not a single fucking person in my chat has King Hassan, dude. It's crazy. And then I have King Hassan, but he's in P1, and I don't want to level his skills right now, so. He clearly just isn't that popular, though, because when we asked favorite assassin, I mean, only like one person said King Hassan, so. He's not as common, it would seem. Also, this boss really is bad for him. With the, you really want to NP quick art. That's so good. Like, look at how much NP gain I just whiffed. And it'd be even more because it'd be in second place. I suspect for a lot of people, they like him, but he's not like super high priority for them. And that's how I am, right? I really only use him when I want to like strong arm some riders in an event or something. Yeah, I don't really use him for videos. So that's why he's 666. I'm like, if I'm just going to use him that way, why the fuck would I do all that other stuff? That was terrible timing. That was such bad timing. Okay, this is not going to happen without command codes. I really do think he can do this with command codes. That was a pretty bad performance, but he's only level 90, so. But yeah, I think the heal boost would do it. That's another thing with his performance earlier in a team setting. We were just level 90 as well, or like Tiamat was 100. Okay, chat. I might take a quick break so I can do a couple of real life things. And then I think I'm gonna come back with Limbus Company, which is a relatively new gacha game that's actually on PC, like it's on Steam. And last time I played it, I was not super impressed with the combat. So we will give it another go and see what it's about. I have to check to make sure their event is actually live. They might be in maintenance right now, but it's probably around now. It's probably up, I would think. Anyways, I will see you guys in a bit if you're interested in watching that. And probably Arc Nights tomorrow, unless something really catches my fancy, because we haven't actually done a lot in the event on Arc Nights, so I do want to do that. Because I think, isn't IS3, like, really soon now? Like, so I don't think I have a lot of time to do other stuff, so I gotta get that done. Anyways, I'll be back in a bit. Thank you for hanging out, and take care.